hello and welcome everyone to the first comic multiverse of 2021, and yet for some weird reason my camera has decided to go really fucking old school and sepia tone for no goddamn reason.
You're one of them hipsters, Joel. You're doing something different, something creative.
I feel, in our technological age where, people are so concentrated on high definition and pixel and frame rates. I'm just different, I'm just a different guy. No, this is just a camera fuck up for some reason. I tried unplugging it, I tried turning it on and off. I don't know why it's doing this. And we said we were going to have a live show at 10, so we're having a live show at 10.
Yeah, no, it did go okay for a little bit, and then it would, just turn over into sepia. It just wants you to be in sepia.
Yeah, if I recall, this happened to us literally once before, and it just kind of fixed itself at a point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Lord willing, it'll just freaking fix itself at some point, and this won't be a problem anymore. We can only have here. What if I tap it? If I tap it, does anything happen?
No.
No, nothing happens when I tap it. Apparently, this isn't an old freaking rabbit ears television where if I just smack it, it'll get back to normal.
Yeah. Does your webcam have an antenna? You got to position it.
Get a little tinfoil on there and everything, Again, I've had this Logitech camera forever now, and maybe this should be something I should get in the new year, a new camera.
Yeah, I've had mine for a while, and I've been looking at trying to upgrade thing. I'm trying to set up my DSLR as my webcam.
I wanted to do that
because I've got all the cables and everything, and I've just got to figure out how to get it to work. I got it to work the other day, but it kept cutting in and out. So I think it's got one of those goddamn HDMI lock things, that the capture cards have.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to get one of those for myself too, for the same reasons. But yes, everyone, it's our first live podcast episode of 2021. It's going to be a little different as far as shows go. We, of course, got all the comic book news that you love and crave and have been interested in. But we're also going to talk about Wonder Woman. And then after that, I thought it would be fun if Matt and I went through some of our favorite things of 2020. It might have been a garbage fire of a year, but you know what? There were still some bright spots in there, and dang nabbit, we're going to talk about them.
Yeah, we absolutely are.
Mostly all the TV we watched.
Yeah, all the TV and some of the movies we saw at home.
Yeah, because there was sweet fuck all else to do. So there you go. So I guess with that, we can hop into some news stories from this week. And I guess technically from 2 weeks, because Matt and I took our regularly scheduled holiday vacation, which we don't do very often. But boy, it was nice sleeping in, wasn't it, Matt? And there only being a couple comics to have to cover every week.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I like it. If only it could come around more than once a year. Seriously, for comic book YouTubers, the time between Christmas and New Year is as close as we get to actual time off.
Yeah, that's where everyone sort of just goes away. There's only a handful of comics out every week. There was still quite a few comics, but it was a lot less than what we usually have to deal with.
And some of it you could thankfully ignore, which normally you can't ignore.
Yeah.
So I guess our first big piece of news here is actually building on an old piece of news, and that is, hey, you know that Robert Pattinson Batman movie we got coming out, part of a new Batman series?
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently it's not the only one, says the head of, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, the head of DC Films, Walter Hamada.
Yeah. Apparently we're getting a whole other different Batman franchise, but this one is going to be solely for the app. And again, he didn't specify isn't he talking about that Gotham Cop TV show? Is this related to that? No, it's a completely new, completely different thing. And I'm like, oh, did you all get really fucking frightened about the fact that you may not be able to put movies out again for another year? So it's get a Batman for the app.
It sounds like a combination of that. Consider they did that thing with Warner Brothers where they announced all their movies are now going to be on their app as well as in the cinema. It sounds like a combination of that plus DC's usual. We're just going to announce all of these things that you're probably never going to see 90% of.
Yeah, before we even got the ball rolling on them, we're just gonna fucking announce them.
Mm-hmm.
What a weird thing to do. I'm old enough to remember, and I'm sure you are too. Back in the time when DC and Warner Brothers was terrified at the idea of having any two things going at the same time that were even remotely similar.
The embargoes, the bat embargoes. It stopped Batman being in goddamn Smallville, which is why we got Green Arrow.
Yeah. Yeah, the very famous bat embargo that also affected the Justice League cartoon show, too, which is why they were never allowed to go back and reference anything that happened in that show.
Yeah, yeah.
To think that they were so militaristic about it and so on board with it, and now they're just like, fuck it, have as many Batmans as we want.
Yeah, it's starting to sort of show that, because obviously we've got that Superman show starting next month. We've got Bruce Wayne appearing in season 2 of Batwoman, which could lead to obviously Batman in that show as well.
Yeah.
So it seems like they've realized, oh, we can do this now. We can have these characters on TV now, and it actually be pretty good.
Yeah, people like Batman, and we can put him places. It's funny too. This also coming on the back of the bigger piece of news there from DC Comics, and I guess what we can now take to mean across their whole multimedia line, this Omniverse concept that is like, hey, we did Crisis and they did Spider-Verse, and fans seem to be smart now, so maybe we can have multiple conflicting superheroes of the same type.
Yeah, and they've basically said their movies are not gonna be in a shared universe, mainly because they fucked it up.
And they don't know. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing behind it. It's like, we don't know where Batman's going to be successful again. Maybe we'll get 3 more movies out of this guy. Maybe we won't. But boy, people sure seem to like streaming television now because they can't go to theaters and can't do anything. So, you know.
There's also the fact that all of these plans could just immediately change when, like, say Pattinson's Batman is like a huge fucking hit, and probably will be. Say it's a huge fucking hit, and they'll immediately change this, like, oh, we're not doing that now. This is our universe. This is our Batman now. We're not doing any other Batman. This is it.
That was a weird experiment. Pay no attention to that.
Yeah.
This also, Hamada didn't stop there either. He talked about some other stuff too, saying that the app would be home for more riskier DC properties and ideas, and he was sure to name check both Batgirl and Static Shock, which left a lot of people to rightly think, oh, so the woman and the black man are risky, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
But we could have as many Batmans as we want.
Well, not only that, I found it funny that he thought a Batgirl and Static Shock were risky. Like, Batgirl, like, she's tied to Batman, tied to Jim Gordon, all these, you know, she's like the least riskiest thing. Static Shock is very, very fucking popular and would be an absolutely topical hero at this point in time. There's nothing risky about it.
No, people have been asking for Static forever, and in fact, it's also kind of a fuck you to the comic people. It's like, oh, Static is really risky and everything. Aren't they bringing back the Dakotaverse right now in the comics, and you're calling it risky?
Yeah.
Oh, it's risky. I don't know, man. I just don't know about this thing. And I'm like, well, it's nice to know that the new head of DC and Warner Brothers Films can still fuck it up just like the last guard. That was the best tweet I saw about this, too. I don't know who said it, so I can't give proper credit, but they said something to the effect of, really? You're doing 2 Batman at the same time now? Motherfucker, how about you make one good movie first? Yeah,
just make one good film that does really well at the box office, and, you know, everyone likes it, and then just go from there. Stop doing too much at once.
There, your wording was better. Make one good movie that makes a lot of money. Because I still hold up Shazam, best one they did. Yeah. Not a huge moneymaker for them, unfortunately. Though it is getting a sequel, which is good.
Yeah, maybe the sequel might be this big movie that they need.
I certainly hope so. But so I hope you like Batman, everyone, because your Bat Cup completely runneth over. My question is that because, you know, we've seen what this Pattinson movie is going to look like, and okay, you're doing 7, you're doing again ultra realistic Batman and everything. Mm-hmm. What could they do for the app that could really like excite you? What's something like totally different that they could do to help differentiate them?
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like, is this going to be like a companion show to that Gotham one? But then the Gotham one's kind of a companion to this Batman film.
So they said, yeah.
Like, yes, because then, I have not sure. I say just like go do full comic craziness Batman.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
like
he's
again,
got all the fucking gadgets and bat trains and all the shit from Tynion's early run.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I'm sure this will be crass and cliche to say at this point, but just Mandalorian up Batman have really strong one and done episodes
Yeah.
Where Bruce has to do something and fights a villain of the week. He only has all the best villains of the week.
Yeah, do something. Maybe do something with like the Black Case book or something. So it makes it like a weekly sort of one and done. Each week is a different case or something.
How about we go full detective on it? How about we really concentrate on Batman trying to solve mysteries?
Well, I think that's what the Reeves movie's doing. At least that's what it's implied by like the trailers and everything.
Again, it's, hey, we saw the movie Seven. We really like Seven.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do that. And I'm like, hey, man, I like Seven too, and I like Batman. So, all right. Works for me. Hey, maybe Batman could find a little orphan boy, maybe from a circus or something, and carry him around. And if you love Baby Yoda, you're gonna love Baby Robin.
An actual baby.
An actual baby. That's how young. He's literally a trapeze baby when Batman finds him. And that's what we do from there. Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways you could go for Batman on television. I mean, like, shit, people loved that Daredevil show. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if it was literally just Batman in there, I'm sure people would love that too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Jaden has a good one there. Dick Grayson, age 12. Yes, that's what they should do. They should just do crazy-ass Frank Miller Batman. Where he is just undeniably the bad guy in his own show. Hey, stupid, gonna eat some rats in the cave. Painting himself yellow so Green Lantern can't get at him. That's what we need. Instead of, like, super dickery from the old, like, Golden Age comics, it needs to be, like, Batman dickery.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
Oh, get Will Arnett back and put him in the costume. Because, I mean, he's a pretty good, Bat dickery. I rewatched the second Lego movie there with him in it as Batman. I'm like, oh, his Batman's really good in his own way.
He is. He's a really good Batman. Like, his Lego Batman film was really damn good.
To think he got his own kind of Batman trilogy from that first Lego movie to the solo Batman movie to the second Lego movie, which references the Batman movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Batman eat shit world. Yeah, I'm kind of cool with that one as well.
That's his new like motto.
It used to be I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman. Now it's Batman eat shit. Eat shit and die. Again, they can do the Batman we've been pitching forever where it's just him doing like donuts on his motorcycle in the graveyard. My parents. Just a maladjusted weirdo. I'm fine with that. So yeah, there's your Batman news. Oh, I guess too, if we're talking about stuff Hamada said, we would be remiss to not bring this up, and I'll let you take this one, Matt. What did he say about Zack Snyder's DC film franchise and about all of the stuff that he'd been doing?
I believe he called it a cul-de-sac. It's a street that leads nowhere, so
yes,
nothing's happening with that.
A creative cul-de-sac, which is the most polite and, refined way of saying, nah.
And of course, it was just by sheer coincidence. I think the day after or the 2 days after that, Ray Fisher came out and said Hamada's an evil person as well.
Of course.
Oh, gee, I wonder why.
Jeez, I'm not saying someone has, completely... hitched their ship to someone else's. I'm just saying. If I were to say that, which I'm not, it just, it kind of looks that way, doesn't it? Also, again, too, not to, crack too much wise about how this man is running his corporation, his division. Didn't you just give him a bunch of money to finish that movie? Now you're saying it's a creative cul-de-sac that goes nowhere.
Again, because of those comments, it feels like that money was a goddamn, like, severance pay. Like,
right.
Here, take this money, do your film, and then fuck off.
Leave me alone. Is this the ultimate buyer's remorse where it's like, I spent how much on that? Why? And it's how many hours? And they're doing what?
Why did I need $70 million to fix a film that people had been telling me for 4 years was already finished?
Yeah. Hey guys, it's like he's just figuring it out now. Like he just got done like a big booze and coke bender. He's like, why did I spend $7 million on this? What? Who signed my name on these reports? No, that was me. Aw, damn. Well, shit, can I get it back? No? Fuck. Well, I guess we gotta roll with it then. But no, I no joke, I legitimately love Hamada, though, because he says shit like this all the time. He's becoming my favorite person to read interviews from.
He doesn't seem to have a filter, which is kind of interesting for a guy like in charge of all that. Usually they're pretty PR heavy. This guy just says shit.
Yeah, he's like, wait, what? It's like he says stuff, and then like if he's in the room, what'd I say? Why is everyone freaking out? What did I do? Can you believe I'm the president of this company? Can you believe they put me in charge of this division? I can't. I won it in a poker game. That's the thing where it's like, hey, how did you get to be in charge of this company? Oh, I caught a leprechaun, and instead of a pot of gold, he made me the president of this film division.
I found a monkey's paw.
A magic wishing rock that I could become the head of this division, but I could only say what I mean at all times. Yes, that bit in Wonder Woman 84 is actually a biography. That's actually me. That actually happened. I like that too. Hamada, what have I done? That's on his business cards. Oh, good shit. All right, so there's your Batman DC associated app news, everyone. But believe it or not, we actually got more.
We do.
Some Spider-Man stuff coming down the pipeline now. Hey, Matt, did you hear Spider-Man is getting a new costume?
I did, and it looks fucking awful.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll stick around just as long as Metal Spider-Man or FF Spider-Man or Cyborg Spider-Man or any of the other flash-in-the-pan costumes he had. The only other costume he had that did great and people really enjoyed was the black suit, which is why he still brings that out every so often.
Yeah, I think this suit is just going to be like, maybe just for the issue that the cover is for, which is 68 or something.
Yeah. This is 100% the artistic equivalent of clickbait. Hey everyone, look at Spider-Man. He's got a new hat. I mean, a new costume.
Yeah, he'll use it in the issue and then probably never see it again. It'll go next to like the Spider Hunter outfits and all these things. Yeah.
What did someone say on Twitter saying this costume is the equivalent of when you pass it in the video game? Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Ooh, Scarlet Spider. Ooh, let me get one of the ones I like. Again, I'm sure this means nothing. I'm sure this will amount to nothing. I'm sure just the fact that people were talking about it and sharing it served its purpose. That's literally the only reason they did it. This feels like this was put together by a committee where it's like, what can we do that will get people interested in talking about this shit?
Yeah, well, and we didn't even get like, we only saw the cover for it. We didn't even get like what the story is. So yeah, it's probably absolutely just like a one and done story-based suit.
100%. I do like the orange accents, though, and I liked the orange accents when Batman had them, too. People hate putting more orange on costumes, but I am all about orange on
I don't like the orange accents on Spider-Man. If they were red, I could understand, because it's like, again, it's like assets from his original costume. The blue's there, the red should be there as well.
True enough, yeah.
If it was red, it'd be kind of fine, but yeah, maybe a bit too much white as well.
Yeah, hey, Photoshop guys, get in there and fix that up. I talked about the FF Spider-Man suit, yet ironically, I actually really like the FF Spider-Man suit.
There is something about that suit.
It's sleek.
Yeah, I think that's... Yeah, whereas this one's like an armor.
Which is funny that, it's like Spider-Man works because he's so simplistic, and yet the black suit is great and the FF suit is great, and they have basically almost no color. He's basically just boiled down to a logo.
Yeah, yeah.
But then again, that also speaks to how freaking strong the logo is.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone knows what it means.
Absolutely. Zeke, our resident Tokusatsu fan there, is making a Power Rangers comparison. Yeah, I see it now. You're right. Absolutely. He looks like an SPD Ranger now that you mention it.
Yeah, kinda.
I see it now. Yeah, he looks like, not the Orange Cat Ranger you got, but like the janitor who had like a fever dream where he imagined himself as the Orange Ranger. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. So there's Spider-Man's suit. I'm sure we won't be talking about it, but again, everyone blew up about it on the internet, so we had to mention it.
Yeah.
Now, hey, speaking of Tokusatsu, actually, this is a beautiful segue. Marvel's Ultraman series is going to be getting a sequel. Apparently, it did well enough under Kyle Higgins that they're bringing it back, which is great news because that hopefully means we'll see more weird-ass pairings like this.
That's great news. I've been reading the issues as they come out, and they're really damn good. I really enjoy them, and it kind of made sense it was going to be... You're going to get another series because this first series is literally all just like his origin And I imagine once issue 5 comes out very soon, I think it's just going to end with him like, oh, he's Ultraman now. Now he can go and, beat the shit out of Godzilla and all this shit.
And have cool-ass adventures, which, hey, I am all about all of that.
Mm-hmm. And they mentioned the multiverse in it, so he could easily come over into... Yeah, they mentioned, like, different dimensions and stuff.
Well, there you go.
Come over into and fight the Avengers.
As the chat is saying there, too, he should go to that Japanese Spider-Man TV universe so he can fight Leopardon and Japanese Spider-Man. Oh my god, does Marvel own the rights to that shit? Because that would be pretty crazy to have Ultraman fight like the Iron Cross Army. They were in,
was it Spider-Geddon? One of those spider events recently.
That's true. So I guess they do own the rights to it then.
Yeah.
I wondered if that was like a leasing deal with the TV company or not. But I think this is super cool that the Marvel Universe now includes Ultraman and Predator and Alien and Conan. What else could it possibly have?
Alien, which is actually starting its run soon.
Yeah, so they're saying. You gotta wonder, too, if somewhere in the Marvel offices they're talking about, like, other beloved IP that they could possibly buy up. They're like, how much would it cost for us to get G.I. Joe? Hey, we had Transformers back in the day. How much do you think it would cost for us to get Transformers?
Yeah, hey, we just got 20th Century Fox. Like, what do they own?
True enough. They're probably eyeing, like, RoboCop and Judge Dredd, too, while they're at it.
Who owns RoboCop?
That's a good question. I thought I knew the answer. That Dark Horse put the comics out, or they used to.
Yeah.
But again, I think that might have been a similar licensing deal with whoever owned it.
Because, I mean, if we can get RoboCop comics, have goddamn Neil Blomkamp come in and do his RoboCop Returns movie that got cancelled. Have him do a comic book adaptation of it.
IDW and 2000 AD, which of course still owns Judge Dredd, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they're not giving that up.
No, that's their fucking bread and butter. They are the Judge Dredd house. They have literally nothing else, I'm sure, if not for Judge Dredd. He's been keeping the lights on there at that company since forever. So yeah, good on Ultraman, good on Tokusatsu. It's a good time to be a fan of all of these things.
Absolutely, I'm really looking forward to this next series. It's called The Trials of the Ultraman.
I like it. Now, next up, we got some Batman comic news for you, and this involves the future fate of Damian Wayne. Of course, if you read Detective Comics this week, or I guess last week, again, time fucking bleeds.
This week, last week, it's all the same.
If you read the last Detective Comics, you would know that he basically makes peace with his father, Batman, but ultimately chooses not to become Robin again. He actually gives the R back. And the question is, well, what's the future going to hold for him? What's he going to become? What's his fate going to be? Well, if you want to hear about that, you can read a series of new backup stories by Joshua Williamson in the Tynion Batman book.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's one thing I'm liking about Infinite Frontier. They're bringing back the backup stories.
Backup stories are good. Sometimes they can be even better than the main story. And certain characters I don't think can hold up a main solo series, as Damian has showed with his last several solo series. But come on, a backup in a Batman book, that's pretty dope. And I hope if it gets popular enough, we can get an actual book called Batman and Robin again.
Yeah, well, and considering like Tynion has like a huge plan, I could see that story feeding back into Tynion, and then Tynion takes back over and then goes back to Williamson. And then vice versa. Yeah.
He's also going to be keeping that, like, black kung fu costume for a little bit longer and have no code name.
Yeah, he's just... I imagine he'll have a code name. We'll get a new code name.
I think we toyed around in this in a previous episode what his new code name should be and what his gimmick should be.
I think we did. I can't remember, though.
I know, we talked about so many. I said... what was it in the Benjamin Percy Teen Titans book, which was short-lived, unfortunately, because it was actually really good. We found out that Damian had a cousin who was like Talia's brother's daughter, and she had kind of like a cool Japanese Oni thing going on. I'm like, oh, he should steal that, and he should be Oni. That should be his thing. That would be a good one. Renegade, which was an old Nightwing thing that he used when he went undercover. Yeah. I thought it would be fun. He should bring back the Renegade identity, because he is literally the Renegade of the Bat family.
Do you think he's gonna fall back in with like League of Assassins and stuff, and he's like mother and everything?
That would be weird, but kind of interesting if they made him a villain. Or
Yeah.
not like a villain, but more of like an anti-hero.
I could see him maybe thinking, because it's fucking Damian Wayne, I could see him thinking maybe he could try and take over the League of Assassins from Raish, and because he thinks he can run it better or something, and maybe he tries to take them over or something. Comes the new Demon's Head or something.
That could be really interesting. I would definitely I was gonna say watch that. I'll definitely read that. What did someone else say? Someone pitched the name Prodigal, which I quite enjoyed. I'm like, yeah, it's like Oracle, but like Prodigal Son from the Bible. Yeah, I dig that. That's a fun code name.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
I think someone else just said Demon, like he could just be Kid Demon or something, and I'm like, that fits with his family, and I'd like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of places they could go with him.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm intrigued to see what Joshua Williamson is going to do with him.
Yeah, because obviously he's a guy with a lot of big ideas, and has shown to really have the.
He's like the architect of Infinite Frontier.
In a lot of ways, yeah. And
he's like behind that Zero issue, and he's like spearheading all the stuff that's happening after Death Metal, and
yeah, he's on the rise, and I like that about him because he turned in a lot of work we really enjoyed. I wonder, because he was writing the Flash book, and the Flash book basically gave Damian justification for being such an asshole ever since Super Sons broke up, and that is that Reverse Flash was whispering in his ear and making him do things. I wonder, do you think we'll see that come back in this Damian story?
Well, see, I would like it to find out that it was the Reverse Flash. But the problem with that is that Damian would try and stop him, but the thing is, Reverse Flash doesn't actually exist anymore because of how Finish Line ended. He technically does as Eobard Thawne, but Reverse Flash as a villain doesn't exist. But it would be pretty fun to have Damian go on this huge adventure only to find out Flash fixed it all anyway.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to kill Eobard Thawne. Too late, he's already not Reverse Flash more. Fuck. Well, I guess I can't do that then. I guess I need to go do something else. But yeah, good on that. I'm excited for the Damian book. And again, hey, we talked about Tynion and all the big plans he has for 2021 after Future State. Well, one of those books, as we discovered, finally has a name, and that is a Joker solo series, which is going to be like a sibling book to the Batman book.
Yeah, and it's got a pretty damn cool premise.
Yes, it does.
It's Joker. He's like on the run from after the events of Joker War, and he's being hunted by Jim Gordon across the world, and Jim Gordon is like set to retire, and this is like his last big like case he wants to finish before he retires.
Which I love, that making Jim Gordon the main character of a series. And obviously, this is also probably going to bring in everything that's happening with Punchline and Bluebird and Clown Hunter and everything else that Tynion set up. We also see Bane in the background, because at the end of Joker War, Bane said, I'm going to fucking kick your ass.
Yeah. Again, that was a reference to Tynion speaking through Joker about what Tom King did.
Yeah, how dumb City of Bane was, and how I literally did the same thing you did, but better. Also, Joker's still missing an eye because he got shot in the eye at the end of that other series, which is fun.
Yeah.
Cyclops Joker, Big Boss Joker. Time to bring the Ha legend back to life.
I'm kind of like upset because in the art he's just got it stitched across. I was kind of hoping he'd have it like stitched in like a smiley face or something,
missed opportunity,
or a Ha or something.
Yeah, like,
or is that too close to damaged?
I guess that is a little too close. You're right. Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna give the Joker an eye patch, it's got to be something fun and interesting.
Yeah.
There also seems to be like another cop character we're going to meet here along with Gordon, and I'm pretty sure he's the guy in the big like DC Infinite Frontier thing, because he's the only one with the Bat family not wearing a costume.
That guy. See, I wondered who that guy was for so long, and I had a theory that's like, oh, is this going to be like something where it's like, this is a younger Alfred? Because the guy looks exactly like Alfred. Like he's got like the little mustache and kind of looks how Jorge Jimenez draws Alfred. So I'm like, are they gonna like do the thing where like the universe reverts back and Alfred comes back and he's younger?
Oh, that would be a weird
and like he can like
twist.
Go out and like help Batman and stuff now.
But also, like, I couldn't stop you before from being Batman because I was old and haggard and everything. But now that I'm young, I can actually physically stop you.
Yeah, I could kick your ass.
I can kick your ass, Master Wayne. Don't make me take my belt off. You're not too old for a spanking. Yeah, that would be interesting. Or like, again, it would be a little hackneyed, but it would be kind of fun too for this guy to be like, yeah, I never knew my father. He was some British stage actor.
Yeah, yeah.
To
That'd be
find
pretty
out
cool.
that Alfred has like an illegitimate son, and Batman being like, oh, there's another Alfred out there, and oh, this is my chance to maybe take this kid in and help him the same way Alfred helped me.
Yeah, and if that is the case, knowing Tynion, he'd do like some like cool story about like, is this Bruce actually wanting to help this or just trying to fill in a gap in his life?
Yeah.
With like
maybe
missing Alfred, it kind of goes into that whole thing. He's a rich kid without his butler. He's just trying to make this guy his new butler.
Exactly, and then maybe the kid can be like, look, you just can't keep adopting young men and bringing them into your cave.
It's fucking weird.
To fill a void in yourself. To where he's like, Clown Hunter, go away, I have Alfred's son now. Which is actually what I like about Clown Hunter 2 from that annual, where he's like, no, dude, I have no interest. I'm not going to be a Robin. I am my own thing.
Yeah, not going to be a Robin, not going to be a Ghostmaker. I'm going to be whatever Leslie Tompkins makes me.
Which is kind of cool in and of itself, and I feel like Leslie Tompkins is also going to play a big part in this too. And thank you, Tynion, for remembering A, that Leslie Tompkins exists, and B, to draw her consistently. Oh yeah, and Duke is there too as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, remember Duke? He's more important in the Dark Multiverse than he is in the main universe.
How messed up. He's more important in the White Knight universe when he's just a regular workaday cop. That has to be a record for something, that a character is more important in Elseworld stories than they are in main universe stories. Man, that's got to be Duke's next story there, where he figures this out and he starts hopping to other universes and recruiting other versions of himself.
They all gang up on Batman.
There you go. The League of Dukes, the Duke Nation. The new Duke Order. But yeah, there's the Joker book, everyone. And again, it should be stupid, but I trust Tynion because, again, he's doing that tried and true writing technique of how do you write a story about the Joker? The answer is you don't. You write it about other people and then just have the Joker exist around it.
Mm-hmm. Have the Joker move through them, basically, like a force.
Exactly. So you can have a book called Joker, but he's not really the star of the book. Mm-hmm. That's how you do it. All right, what else do we got going on here? So I guess from there we can, before we hop into our favorite things of the year, we can talk about, because I know people are dying to hear about this, Wonder Woman 1984 was the big movie that got released this Christmas Day, Matt, and we were all able to watch it trapped in our homes. But honestly, I thought it was pretty freaking dope that I didn't have to go to the theater to see a big superhero movie. Arguably the biggest superhero movie of the year that actually got released.
I would say this is the biggest film that got released this year, at home. I'm trying to think of like what else was released, because it's not Trolls.
Yeah, Trolls. Soul, I guess, but like Pixar's kind of like in kind of in like a league of its own, which I watched that too, by the way.
Yeah, that was good. I like that.
Yeah, I liked Soul a lot too, yeah. So Wonder Woman 1984, mostly I felt positive about it. I kind of talked about this on Twitter, but man, was there like 3 or 4 things that really held this one back from being great. I think in the broader strokes, it's probably a better, more authentic feeling movie than the first one, but boy, does it have nothing as good as that No Man's Land scene. They have one scene that comes pretty close, but man, that No Man's Land scene was hard to top, wasn't it?
It was. And again, it's the film's a homage to the 80s, basically. It's set in the 80s. It's called Wonder Woman 1984.
One of the best things about it, the setting and the aesthetics and everything.
But the thing is as well that they use 80s tropes in the film as well.
Almost to its detriment, some might say.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit here. So again, we pick up with Wonder Woman many decades after the events of the first. Well, actually, no, we actually start the movie with a flashback to the Amazons in Themyscira, because if you didn't have that flashback, you wouldn't be able to see the Amazons in the movie.
Yeah, I kind of think Patty Jenkins said that WB wanted her to cut either that one or the one after that, and I personally think they should have cut this first one. You didn't really need it. I know there was that whole thing about her learning like you can't cheat, you gotta, you do the truth sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you could have easily worked that into like something else in the film.
You could have. Also, the problem with that, too, is trying to set up this whole thematic idea of the truth overcoming deception and the truth being hard and yada, 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 is they'll actually fuck up the theme later on in the movie, clearly through a series of reshoots.
Yeah.
So whatever that scene meant in the beginning didn't end up meaning anything by the end. Also, too, another funny problem with that scene, there's like, oh, what a cool race, what a cool competition. What are the rules for this competition? I don't. Where are they going? What's the end line? Oh, I'm just having fun. Okay, I'll stop asking questions.
Yeah, well, the scene was like 20 minutes long, which is insane. And yeah, it was a bit too long, and they could have easily cut that down quite a fair bit. And yeah, there wasn't like, what were they racing for? Like, it doesn't make, like, they should have tied it in with maybe that like armor. Or it's like you win, you get to wield the armor or
something like that.
Yeah,
I feel at some point maybe that was the idea, Matt. Again, like a lot of DC movies, it feels like this one underwent significant reshoots and rejiggering, which indeed the movie had been pushed back and reworked even before the whole COVID thing. So there's no telling what was actually done to this one.
Yeah, before COVID, it got pushed back a year, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, because it was meant to come out in 2019.
Yes, and there was rumors of a lot of doctoring going on after the first test screening and everything. Apparently, the studio didn't think this one tested well.
No, the WB thinks none of their movies test well, and then they get their fingers in it.
And then they let fucking trailer houses re-edit it and do whatever. God help James Gunn in that fucking Suicide Squad movie, I tell ya.
I like to think he's a bit more of an established director who can speak up about that. Well, then saying that Patty should be as well, though, I think it comes to the fact that maybe she might have had a bit too much control.
There's definitely, again, to the movie's credit, and again, I'm mostly positive about this one, there was definitely a nice sense of identity to this one. I feel I understand Jenkins more as a filmmaker from this one than I did from the first one, which felt very much like, look, you got to make a square peg to fit in this hole, basically. Here, it's like, okay, you got more freedom. You can tell the sort of movie you want. You can, show your own film inspirations. And hey, I'm sure you noticed, too, this one had a lot of Reeves energy in it, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, again, it's based on, like, movies from the 70s and 80s. And the Donna Superman films were, like, huge then. So it's only right that it borrows from those films, and the stuff like that, like the scene after the Themyscira stuff where Wonder Woman's saving people and stopping bank robbers, that was so damn good. Damn good.
Loved it. That's what we want from our superhero movies. We like to see our heroes acting like heroes and doing cool shit, and indeed she does. I also like they kind of find a reason to be like, hey, so Wonder Woman just sat around in between the end of her movie and the beginning of Batman v Superman. No, she fought crime, but she was an urban legend because camera technology wasn't as good. All right, whatever, fine.
Yeah,
sure.
that was one of those things that like they should have just went fuck it, just not even bothering with like trying to fit it in. She's just a superhero now. She's just saving people. You didn't need to do the thing where she's telling people to be quiet about like her existence and like using her crown to like take out cameras was pretty fun.
That was really good. Hey, remember when that bulletproof supermodel saved us at the mall? Yeah, I haven't shut up about it. As Zeke says, the Highlander quickening homage was neat. Yes, because Wonder Woman is basically a Highlander now, complete with Highlander problems. She's sad because she lost the love of her life and she feels directionless in this modern world and continually having to start over and everything. And I'm like, all right, I get that. I can dig that. I can get behind that.
Yeah. I again, sort of like Steve Rogers, like woman out of time sort of thing.
Woman out, although doing much better because again she's clearly up on all the modern technology and working at the Smithsonian and everything. She does love her pictures, which I fucking love when we see her apartment and she's got all these old pictures and there's one of Etta Candy and they're like at Ellis Island and she's like old and everything. I'm like, Wonder Woman, you shouldn't be having those pictures out in the open. What if someone broke in? They would know who you are. Oh shit, Batman v Superman was all about Luthor stealing her stupid fucking pictures, wasn't it? Oh my god. I hate that this actually tracks with this dumb universe now. I hate that that's actually super in character. Wonder Woman just cannot help but leave pictures everywhere, incriminating pictures that betray how young she is, or how old she is, actually. That scene there in the mall, super awesome, and also very reminiscent of one we got in DC Rebirth, actually, where Wonder Woman stops a similar shootout in a mall.
Yeah. Oh, what issue was that? I know exactly the issue you're talking about, because Nicola Scott drew it. Stuff.
Yes, and it was really, really good.
I wonder if that's where this came from, because she's credited in the credits.
Well then, yes, then I'm probably 100% sure that's where it came from.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's living her life. She's getting along there and working at the Smithsonian, because naturally, being as old as she is, she knows a thing or two about antiques. And we meet Kristen Wiig as Barbara Ann Minerva, the Cheetah. What did we think of her?
I didn't like her at all. She again falls into that goddamn comic book trope that I saw that everyone posting it. You've got Edward Nygma, your Jamie Foxx as Electro, Pamela Isley. All these
Aldrich Killian,
all these people who are they're like the nerdy character, and they're socially awkward because they are a nerdy character. But then they get a little bit of power, and they turn badass and attractive, and it corrupts them.
Hector Hammond. Don't forget Hector Hammond from Green Lantern, which again, the thing that most of those have in common too, and especially here with Barbara, which annoyed me. Barbara is again, awkward, nerdy, but genuinely nice, and doesn't seem to have a bad bone in her body. No. And she only turns bad because of the wishing rock that she doesn't fully understand. And yet Wonder Woman reads her the fucking riot act later on in the movie and oh, you're trying to make up for your weakness and I'm like, wow, Wonder Woman, why are you being such a bitch?
Yeah.
To this woman who really didn't deserve. Clearly there was supposed to be more that got cut out.
Yeah, well, there's a scene, and it's only in one scene. I said in my review, there's only one scene, and it's never mentioned again in the film. And it's at that party scene once she gets her wish, and she turns up at the party, and everyone's looking at Wonder Woman, and then Kristen Wiig turns up, and everyone's looking at her, and Diana kind of looks at her like, oh, fuck you, bitch. Like a little bit of jealousy. I'm like, oh, was that meant to be a play into that? Was that meant to be more to that? Because it's not referenced ever again.
No, it is not. But actually, I'm sure that was part of a bigger storyline at one point. You know why? Because the original Cheetah in the comics, no shit, gets mad at Diana and becomes a supervillain in the first place because Wonder Woman showed her up at a party. I'm not fucking making that up. That's actually from the books.
Yeah.
So the fact that may have been a storyline at some point makes sense. It's also kind of funny too, because during their big fight at the end, when Cheetah's oh, stop patronizing me, Wonder Woman, she hasn't been patronizing you until right now, in which case, yeah, I agree with you, Cheetah. I don't agree with Wonder Woman. Because you've shown to be nothing but nice, and all the bad stuff you have done has literally been out of your control because of the device that is the wishing rock and its very inconsistent set of rules.
Yeah, they needed to have something where it's oh, you get your wish, but it amplifies something that'll make you evil or something.
It's so uneven, the wishing rock, because even from the first scene where it's oh, I wish I had coffee. Ooh, that's hot. Really? So that was his monkey's paw? He got coffee, but he burned himself. But she's losing powers, and she's becoming a monster, and he's getting all sick and the wishing rock is very uneven.
What they should have done is because what happens is the wishing rock turns into Pedro Pascal, because his character Maxwell Lord, the con man that he is, wishes for more wishes basically, and to become the person to give the wishes, because he gave
big brain scheme.
Because he gave the wish to Barbara. What it should have done was it gave her a wish, but it also, because it technically gave it from Maxwell, and he's all about greed, it should have amplified that in her as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of okay, so I don't hate the wishing rock as a concept. In fact, I love how weird in comic book it is.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's an absolute comic book thing.
I'm glad it's not a big space laser or a laser beam in the sky or any of that other dumb shit. I like that it's a cool magic MacGuffin with a weird thing to it. I just wish they worked out the rules a little harder, and apparently, again, there was other stuff with the rock that never made it in the movie. Apparently, it was supposed to be a dream stone from, Dream of the Endless.
Oh, God, okay.
Because apparently that was, supposed to be a thing in this movie early on, that they were going to try and set up that frickin' Neil Gaiman.
Oh, my God.
Sandman shit in it. Yeah, I know, right?
Jesus.
Even the stuff later when they're like, oh, we need to go find this like Central American shaman guy, he'll tell us what it's all about. And I'm like, oh, okay, here's the moment where they're going to talk about the cheetah god from the comic, Katsurga, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, I can't fucking say its name.
No one can pronounce it, but I'm like, okay, cool, this is where they're going to name drop the god. Oh, they name drop a completely different god. Oh, well, this shaman is going to be the guy who does the ritual that turns Christian Wiig into Cheetah. No, she just kind of does that on her own later on.
There's nothing that... The only thing that I can say that links it, and again, it's something I really hate these movies do, is when they... The first one is that Christian Wiig points out that Diana's wearing leopard print shoes. I'm like, oh, yes. God. And then later on in the movie, when she's kind of badass, she's wearing like a leopard jacket. I'm like, oh, God, I fucking hate when they do that in these films. They're embarrassed by the character, so they like put them in clothes that kind of look like what they're meant to look like.
Yeah, even in her office, too, it's like, oh, she has a big cat that is not a cheetah. I'm like, oh, was that too on the nose for you guys? You couldn't say that she had a cheetah fascination even before then?
Yeah, you could have made it so that, like, she had been looking into this god beforehand, like, as one of her, like, cases at the Smithsonian or something.
Would have been... That's what's really annoying about the problems with this movie, is just a few changes could have made it work.
Yeah, just a few minor changes, minor edits here and there could have changed it.
But then again, maybe there was already a lot of edits in place and we don't know what the movie's about. The weirdest thing about Cheetah, and what I think really steals a lot of her like agency as a character, and truth is she's not the main villain. Maxwell Lord is the main villain. She is secondary, really secondary, because Wonder Woman needs someone to punch at the end of the movie, and she can't punch Maxwell Lord, so that's why they kind of have to work around it. Her whole big deal is like she makes the wish on the wishing rock to be strong and to be beautiful and be more like Diana, who she's looking up to.
Yeah, doesn't she say she wants to be an apex predator?
Later she says the apex predator thing, but again, this is already when the Rock has stolen her agency and being like, oh, you traded your goodness for power, because that's apparently something you can do, which also means none of the choices you make at this point are your own, which that's not good writing, and you're not a good character at that point if you're completely free of your thing. What gets me about it is that the only reason she wishes on the Rock, and again, she's doing it kind of like half-heartedly, because like, oh, I'm a woman of science, I don't believe it. The only reason she wishes on the Rock to be strong is because she almost got raped in a park and Diana had to come save her, and I'm like, oh, well, that's a completely reasonable wish to be strong when you were victimized and weak, a fact of which Wonder Woman shows zero sympathy of, by the way, and doesn't even ask, hey, how you doing? You were almost the victim of a sex crime last night.
Well, again, that goes into the thing. It's like, was there more to that? Did we get to see like Barbara's trauma from that happening?
That would have made more sense, and it's especially weird because the movie treats her ultimate, like, oh, the evil act that she can't come back from is when she beats up and assumedly murders the same guy who tried to attack her yet again, and the movie's like, oh, you've gone too far, and I'm like, wait, this movie was written and directed by a woman, and produced by a woman? Wow, this is the sort of thing I expect in shit written only by dudes. Like, is this not the very thing they say, oh, we need more diverse writers' rooms with more women on it so stuff like this doesn't happen? Well, apparently stuff like this happens even with an all-woman
regardless.
team. Fucking regardless. And again, the worst part about that is that this is just one of many moments that the movie has a weirdly flippant relationship to consent and sexual violence, because I guess the big elephant in the room that we'll have to talk about eventually is that, due to Wishing Rock shenanigans, Steve Trevor is allowed to come back, but he can only come back in the body of a pre-existing guy, and Wonder Woman and Steve bang, and they never seem to ask about the moral or ethical implications of any of this.
See, why couldn't he just... She wished him to come back. Why couldn't he just come back? Why did it have to be in someone else's body?
It's needlessly complicated, and again, maybe in another version of the movie, it did make more sense, because the guy whose body he's inhabiting and whose apartment they hang out in, he had a name, he had a job, maybe at some point Wonder Woman knew this guy, and maybe he had his own monkey's paw wish of like, oh, I'd really like to sleep with Wonder Woman. And then in doing so, it happened, but not the way he wanted. And maybe they took that out, or maybe he was supposed to be another DC character that they had to remove. There's a lot of shit like that in this movie.
Yeah, it's very strange that there was like a body snatching thing, because like that really plays such a little role in this, because if you just have like Steve Trevor is there, like he's not taking anyone else's body, he's there, you still get all the fish out of water stuff. He doesn't know, because he'd be 1940s Steve. He wouldn't know what the hell's going on or anything.
Which, to Chris Pine's credit, he does the whole fish out of water thing really well. In fact, I'd say he's much better in this sequel than he was in the original. He's taken a lot of chances as an actor in this. He's swinging for the fences. He's funny. He's relatable. He's got this kind of like wide-eyed optimism that he's like super stoked about the future and everything. That stuff is great.
Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, and he's really freaking good in this. And, hats off to him. I know I like dogpile on him all the time, saying that he's like a really like bland milquetoast actor. But hey, credit where credit is due. He turned in a fuck of a performance in this one.
He did, yeah.
Again, similarly on amazing performances, Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord, also swinging for the fences. He's chewing up every piece of scenery, and they give Maxwell Lord a ton to do in this movie.
They do. They change up his character. They give him a ton to do, and Pedro is just swinging for the fences, just going all out.
It's surprising that he's not nearly as Trumpy as I thought he was going to be, because like that
was
clearly
Trumpy. He's pretty Trumpy.
Like, there's one scene where he's like very pointedly Trumpy near the end, when it's like, oh, the walls are closing around me, oh, they hate me for how great and successful I am. And I'm like, there it is. And again, his ultimate motivation, very different from most superhero movies. He doesn't want to rule the world. He just wants oil and money and to be remembered.
And it also feeds back into he wants to be successful and everything, so he can give his son everything he wants, because he never got that.
Yes, right at the end, we get a bunch of very sympathizing, humanizing flashbacks for him, which is funny that they wait for the end to that, and that despite, almost bringing the world to the brink of World War III, he basically pulls a Karma Houdini and gets away at the end.
Hey, at least Diana didn't kill him.
At least she didn't kill. I kept waiting for that moment. I'm like, she's going to break his neck, isn't she? She's going to break his goddamn
she's
neck.
gonna have to kill him.
We want to see that. Yeah. No, they don't. This another thing I genuinely like about the movie, and I will give it credit. Wonder Woman defeats Maxwell Lord in this movie by legitimately truth bombing him. She truth bombs the world and brings out the better angels of all mankind, and I'm like, that's actually pretty dope, though. I'm not gonna lie.
It's pretty good.
That's the scene that's almost as good as the No Man's Land scene. It gets a little like in the weeds when you see the very thinly veiled Israel and Palestine stand-ins being like, yes, please, we don't want war. We just want things to go back to the way they were before, when we were at war. That's all we want. We don't want to kill each other. We just, want to keep bombing each other every so often in a war that never ends. And I'm like, okay. Boy, the geopolitical ideas espoused by Wonder Woman is very strange. At least, former member of the Israeli military, Gal Gadot, isn't a producer on the movie. Oh, she is a producer on the movie? Fuck.
Yeah. At least you could say they kind of veiled it in the fact that they make one of the countries be Alia, and that's like within the DC continuity, and it's kind of like that in there anyway, because it is the Palestine-Israel sort of thing.
Yeah, because even comic writers realized, oh, fuck, we probably shouldn't be talking about these, like, very real, very ongoing land disputes at this moment, where it's like, this is hard. This is hard to talk about. Though, admittedly, again, it gets a little in the weeds when the very stereotypical Sheik character who's standing behind a bunch of pyramids is like, we already sold our oil to the Saudis. And now I'm going to take all of this land back. And oh no, Wonder Woman is beating me up. And I'm like, like, did Gal Gadot put this whole scene together just so she could beat up the enemies of Israel, but also save 2 little Palestinian kids anyway, and then speak in her native language?
Yeah. That I didn't like. That was meant to be the big action set piece for the film, and I didn't really like it at all. The effects looked really bad in it. That one scene where she's like running towards the camera. I'm like, gee, you couldn't like have shot that on location.
Yeah, there's a few scenes like that where it's like, oh man, friggin' okay, Ezra Miller still runs worse, but this is almost there. You're almost as bad as that. And yeah, as far as like a big action scene goes, it's like, oh, it's just a car chase, it's just a bunch of trucks. I hate to say it, but Fast and the Furious does vehicle combat better.
Yeah, and it wasn't very good, and nothing really cool happened in it. She stopped a car.
Yeah, she stopped a car. We got some aerial stuff in here too. We got the invisible jet, one of the few things we didn't get from the other movie.
Yeah, and I hated the reason how it can go invisible, because again, it's something that's not set up earlier in the film, which feels like it should be. Again, you could have made that thing at the start, the competition, be like, if you win the competition, we will teach you how to use Zeus's power and the power of invisibility, because it's just brought up in the same scene that the invisible jet is revealed, that she can just turn things invisible.
Again, I was easy going at that point, where I'm like, okay, sure, she's a demigod. We set that. She's had 50 years to work on her powers, so she knows how to make stuff invisible now. What got me, though, and again, I'm sure more stuff was cut from this scene as well, because she's allowed in the bunker by, like, showing her credentials, and I'm like, okay, I guess she can do this as part of her job at the Smithsonian and everything, so they allow her in. She knew the jet was there and everything. Then the second they leave, they start trying to shoot her down. It's like, but wait, doesn't she know that? Shouldn't that come back on her later, that she tried to steal a jet? Okay, whatever.
No, wouldn't someone know that this woman, who in America is foreign, and we've got this thing with the Soviets happening at the moment, like she stole like military equipment.
She literally showed her badge, like, hello, Diana Prince, coming to steal your jet now for a minute.
Yeah.
The invisible jet is nice too, because it gives Steve something to do in the movie, and he's involved in quite a few of the action scenes, only for later in the movie to be like, oh, but Wonder Woman actually learned how to fly on her own, which is hilarious, because if you go back in our original review, we talked about that, because Wonder Woman jumps off the building at the end of that movie, and it's like, oh, are they implying that she's going to learn to fly like she can do sometimes in the comics?
Yeah, and that's the thing, she never does in, like, Batman v Superman or Justice League. So again, it's that thing that they put the cart before the horse sort of thing. But yeah, no, I like that flying scene where she learns how to fly, and it was really cool. I like that at first it wasn't really flying, it was more just jumping and lassoing lightning bolts,
which is fucking cool and metal as fuck.
Yeah.
They kind of Thor it up a little bit too, where it's like, she's flying, but she's falling with style, and she's using the lasso as like a propeller and everything. And I'm like, you know what? I usually hate over explaining and stuff, but all right.
Yeah, it works.
It works. It makes sense. They put a lot of time and effort into this, not just in a how does this make sense, but also in a how do we make this look cool on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I dug about it. What else is there in the movie that we can talk about? She truth bombs everyone at the end and brings out their better angels, which is pretty nice and pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the actual look of Cheetah? Because it doesn't look very good.
Yeah. It looks exactly like it does in the trailer, because that's basically the entire scene.
It looks like cats.
Yeah, she's only a cheetah right at the end of the movie and everything there. And again, basically exists just so Wonder Woman can have someone to punch, which is a bit of a shame. But then again, as I thought back to, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, Cheetah, Wonder Woman's arch nemesis, relegated to just being a fight near the end of the movie, basically a henchman. Aquaman fighting Black Manta basically as a henchman in the middle of the movie. The Joker fighting the Suicide Squad in the middle of the movie. Is this just kind of how DC does things now?
Yeah, it's just a cookie cutter. They've got like the general outline, and they just fill in press F to find all these words and replace them with whatever hero this movie's in.
but at least she wasn't a big armor monster. So I will
Yeah.
give it all the credit in the world for that. At least she was different. She was
it wasn't a
different
CGI like the end of Wonder Woman 1. It wasn't some big random CGI fight that they changed at the last minute.
Yeah. Weird, too, how the villains all just kind of get away at the end. Cheetah gets away, too, and it's left open-ended if she, like, relents her wish or not, or her original wish, I guess. Because apparently you can get 2 wishes. The wishing rock is weird.
It is, yeah. And I'm glad that Maxwell Lord lives, mainly because it could mean he could come back, though I don't know where.
Yeah, true. Could happen anyway. I mean, for, however divided people were on this movie, and honestly, I was surprised people were as divided on this one
I'm
as it
surprised that
was.
so many people kept saying it was like the worst movie they have ever seen, and
I'm like, oh, not even close. It's not
No.
even the worst film in the DC universe. Like,
No.
I might watch this again.
yeah, I definitely will. I was so surprised at how many people like vehemently hated this film.
You know what I think it is? I think this is a weird experiment in the public consciousness, because here is a blockbuster movie that people were actually able to sit down and watch and rewind and pause and think about it and Google every step of the way, where if you were just locked in a theater and you couldn't be on your phone and you had to watch it all the way through.
You couldn't go back. You can go sit down and pull it back and be like, no, there was this scene.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. You can go back and watch it heaps of times over and over.
See, that's what's going to destroy blockbusters, the ability to go back and say, hey, wait a minute. Usually you got to wait a couple months for people to get those hot takes, for people to really stop and think about it.
And now it happens instantly.
Yeah, really, and the studios don't like that at all. Oh no, we might have to make tighter scripts and less cuts so shit actually makes sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, it obviously hasn't really had that much of an effect because they're doing a third one, so...
Yeah, fast-tracked, in fact.
Yeah.
What do you think we do for the third one now?
Well,
we've done Cheetah, we've done Maxwell Lord. What other big Wonder Woman stories?
You got to set it in the present. Set it in the present.
I like it.
I guess you have to set it in the present, and it's not a goddamn Zack Snyderverse, so so you can kind of do whatever. You don't have to worry about. Don't worry about there's a Batman, there's a Superman, there's all these people. Don't worry about them. Just do I don't know, maybe do Cersei or something.
Yeah,
something magic.
I like that with Cersei. Yeah, I like Wonder Woman living in more of a magic zone. What do we do with Cersei? What's her evil plan in modern time? What's her magic bullshit MacGuffin that she's after? Does she want to like steal the lasso because it's like the last of the Olympian relics or something like that?
Yeah, that, or like her bracelets or something, because her bracelets are or bring it back to the first movie, how Wonder Woman is that like god killer weapon or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, that doesn't get brought up at all in this.
No. Well, it doesn't have any bearing on the plot whatsoever.
On anything. Yeah, so we can't use it because it has nothing to do with anything. Hey, you know what she really needs to do in the third one? She needs to team up with Linda Carter, who we now know is an Amazon living in Earth, which is pretty fucking dope.
The original user of that gold armor.
Man, that reveal in the post-credit was so fucking cool. That's probably one of the best post-credit scenes ever, where you see it from behind and you think it's Wonder Woman and it turns around and it's Linda Carter.
That would be cool to see if they do actually team up.
Yeah, because it's like, why not?
Yeah.
I guess, too, if they do a third one, it should be like the big return to the Themyscira, because we've clearly seen now that she hasn't been home since.
Yeah, I guess maybe, return to Themyscira and maybe introduce like Donna Troy or something. Because I think someone found out, because it was revealed Patty had been talking with WB about Wonder Woman since like 2004 or something. And they went through all these scripts, and someone had actually found one of the old scripts, and it had a piece of dialogue and action that was for Donna Troy that is in this movie, but for Kristen Wiig's characters when she pulls the door off the fridge. Like, it's exactly shot for shot.
Oh wow, that's really interesting.
So maybe they were thinking of Donna Troy.
Yeah, some people were saying there would be fun to see Gigant as a henchwoman. Yeah, make her a fun henchwoman.
Yeah.
She would make an excellent heavy, because there's not that much character there, and just, she's big and she's tough and she can fight Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Psycho would be good too, actually, especially as the character has kind of gotten a big push for being on the Harley Quinn TV show. Maybe he can be the movie. Peter Dinklage is Dr. Psycho.
I'd like to see Maxwell Lord come back, but like after like how he ends this film, I don't think he'll ever be a villain. unless there's something happens where maybe there's something left over from the wishing stone and he gets his psychic powers or something.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think an easy joke would be to have an old Maxwell Lord in the future working for Checkmate and have Diana be like, "Oh, I thought I defeated you. Yeah, I was defeated. So, I decided to stop being a criminal and get an honest job working for the government." Make it like a little tongue-in-cheek gag like that. And oh yeah, I'm psychic now too.
It's just that's exactly how it's going to go in the movie. I'm just psychic now.
Or hey, you age up the kid actually, and that way you have a lord who is actually psychic in the future.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
That would be an interesting angle to bring it all full circle. Be like, no, we paid attention.
Oh, and you could probably do a thing where, like, maybe Maxwell Lord, because he's still kind of a bit of a dickhead at the end, he kind of fed his son all these lies about Wonder Woman. He was like,
I like that.
This woman, goddamn,
ruined everything.
Ruined everything, yeah.
She truth bombed me, and I didn't like it. That's actually very fun, actually. That would be a cool pitch, actually. So yeah, there's Wonder Woman 1984. Mostly I enjoyed it. It's certainly not the worst of the DC movies, but man, I will say it's definitely annoying, because if they just fixed that 3 or 4 small things, it would have been so much better.
It's like Superman Returns, where they say, if you just fix these small things, put an action scene here, put this dialogue over here, like, it'd be like a perfect film.
You know what we should do, Matt? We should definitely start a movement, release the Jenkins cut, release the real cut of this movie. Force them to go back and refilm it. Because, it's not that it's a bad movie, it's just that it was clearly a movie that had trouble and that could be fixed. Oh, no, wait, we're not going to do that because we only do that for one person? Interesting.
Yeah, interesting, yeah.
Interesting. Who, actually, Snyder and his wife produced this one, too, which makes me wonder,
Did they, though, or is that just sort of like, they're contractually obligated to be credited? You know how, like...
Somewhere, yeah.
They don't, how some producers don't have anything to actually do with their film, they just have their name on the film. It's the same as, like, Jeff Johns helped write this script, as well as...
Yeah.
Can't remember what the guy's name was, but he wrote that Doom movie with The Rock.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, maybe it's a contractual thing. Who's to say for sure? Because, I certainly didn't feel their fingerprints on this one at all.
Absolutely. This is, like, complete opposite of what Snyder thinks these characters are like.
Yeah. And I will much rather see, this vision come to fruition, because I think this one, had more, A, artistic merit, and B, actually had more, like, comic book connection to it.
You had fun while watching it. You weren't miserable.
Definitely. Yeah. It actually, felt like it wanted to tell a story about a hero doing heroic things and trying to be an aspirational figure and not, like, deconstruct Wonder Woman. In fact, hey, maybe the worst thing I can say about Wonder Woman's journey in this movie is that she basically just has a truncated version of her, like, character arc from the first one, loving Steve, being sad about Steve, having to let Steve go so she could have her powers back and everything. Which, again, it's not a bad journey. Again, it's Highlander is what it is.
Yeah.
Though I also can't fault people for being like, really, all this time later in Man's World, and she's still hung up on Steve and has had nothing else going on in her life this whole time.
Yeah, you would have thought, like, by now she would have learned to move on, especially since she lives for as long as she does.
Like, contrast and compare that again to Steve Rogers, who was still hung up on Peggy, loved Peggy, never loved anyone else, but at least, he had fun. At least he, like, watched Star Wars and, like, got up on references and everything. Wonder Woman doesn't even have a TV.
No.
Do you know how much primetime viewing you were missing Wonder Woman in the 80s? How many great references you could be making that you don't got? Now you don't. Yeah, apparently, Wonder Woman doesn't need no dick, apparently. See, apparently she's just fine. Sitting alone in her apartment with old pictures and no TV and not taking part in life at all. Oh. Until Batman v Superman, in which case she gets off that Turkish airline flight and gets involved again.
Oh, yeah, I forgot she got in that Turkish airline flight.
See, that's the real problem with Wonder Woman 1984, no Turkish Airlines.
Yeah, if I had Turkish... The Doritos factor. If I had the Doritos tie-in, it would have made $1 billion.
Would have put it up all the way.
That was a real theory as well. I don't know whether you saw that for... I think it was Batman v Superman. The Doritos factor.
Do explain the Doritos factor.
Along with like the sales of like Batman v Superman themed Doritos and everything, the movie would have made $2 billion or something.
Oh,
like,
sweet
but Marvel, money. You know, the usual. It's lunacy, absolute lunacy.
Naturally. Ain't it always the way? All right, so with that out of the way, everyone, I know everyone really wanted to hear our thoughts on that. We can talk about our favorite things of the year that was 2020. In fact, I have a whole list in front of me right now broken down into comic books, TV, movies/documentaries, and video games. And my video games list is hilariously small because I'm becoming an old man who can't get in near as much gaming as he used to. I'm still in Act 2 of Cyberpunk, not because I'm going slow, but because I want to make sure I get every side quest before I go to Act 3, because apparently some get locked off if you go too fast.
They do, yeah.
Which, man, I'm glad I heard about that. That game is fun because it's like, okay, you'll do a mission for someone that'll be part of the story, then you'll unlock a whole series of please become my friend missions. And I'm like, these probably seem important. I should do all the be my friend missions. So that's what I'm doing. Also, I went full shotgun build, so I'm just literally melting everyone with a shotgun in every room I go into.
What type of shotgun?
Carnage shotgun.
Yeah.
There you go. Just like this. I feel like I've completely broken the game now because it's like, well, I can run as fast as I can and reload super quick, and there
comes a time near the end of like or mid of Act 2 where like I don't know, I had to like put the difficulty up because it's like, well, these enemies, like, because I had this revolver I got off one of the missions, and it's just like a one-shot kill, so it's like bang, 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 bang. Oh yeah, they're all dead.
I did very much enjoy, doing like the muggings and the gang hideouts, because I'm basically just freaking role-playing RoboCop Dead or Alive, they're coming with me, boom, boom, boom. Just the scourge of the Night City underworld, no one can stop me. And I got the ability that lets me jump really good with robot legs now.
Yeah.
So now I don't even drive anywhere, I just parkour all over the place, jumping on buildings.
It's a lot easier than driving.
It is. Oh man, those race missions, holy shit.
I didn't even attempt them because like I got in the car the first time, like, oh wow, these cars handle like ass. Oh, it's not just like this particular model, it's all of them, even the motorbikes.
Yeah,
wow.
I know. The drive is not good. I only got it because I cheated, because I found a way that you can get like the best car in the game, which is a Batman reference.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that and I used that for the final race and came in first. And hey, I'm glad I did the race side mission with the bartender from Afterlife, because as you find out, she is actually a prominent trans character in the game.
Oh, really?
Yes, you don't find that out until the end,
yeah.
Where she's just like, yeah, I had reassignment surgery, and like she mentions it like 3 missions in, and V, much like me, is like, oh shit, for real?
Yeah, wow.
And she actually had a trans flag in the back of her truck, and I didn't even notice that until she mentioned it, and I'm like, wow, holy shit, Cyberpunk, that was subtle. Shame that this is locked behind your terrible driving missions that people might not even get to this moment.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, definitely. And yes, Hideo Kojima is also in Cyberpunk for a minute. You can find him.
Yes.
But yeah, we are a comic book podcast, so let's talk about some of the comics, Matt, that we loved in 2020. I think starting it off, Daredevil makes a lot of sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Just every issue has been a powerhouse. It really feels like a comic book for adults, which you don't get very often.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I'm reading a really good HBO series.
Yeah, it's like a great crime drama. Drama series like on HBO. It's so damn good.
And just when you think you know what it's about, where it's like, okay, it's Matt fighting corruption in the Stormwinds, or like, oh, it's Matt, not being Daredevil but still trying to enact change. Oh wait, now Elektra is actually Daredevil. And it's also probably one of the best Kingpin has ever been written ever.
Absolutely, yeah. I've loved his story with like the Stormwinds and him no longer being like this top player that he thinks he is, and there's like people that just like make fun of him because of who he is and everything.
That issue is so good when they're like making fun of him for like being a mob boss,
and he cracks and kills one of them.
Yes, he's feeling like a small fish in a big pond for the first time in his life, and you see him break down in a way you've never seen him break down before. And it's like really sad and affecting. I'm like, God damn, Chip Zdarsky's writing fucking art right here.
Yeah, it's so damn good.
It really is. Tom Taylor had a killer year this year as well with Deceased, Dead Planet, and Suicide Squad. I think Unkillables was this year too, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, right at the start.
So yeah, just Taylor, just knocking him out of the fucking park in so many different ways, and is going to keep knocking out of the park in 2021 because he's got the pen on Nightwing now.
He's got the pen on Nightwing and other DC products he hasn't announced yet.
So that's good. I mean, Dead Planet continues to just be so cool and so interesting from an idea that could have been so artistically brain dead and like, oh, we're doing zombies in the DC universe. Yeah, but what if it was good, though?
Yeah, again, it's like Injustice all over again. And Justice had no reason to be as good as it was because it was a fucking tie-in to a video game comic. I have to imagine when that first started, they think, oh, we're going to do 3 issues and people are going to read it and then be like, whatever. But no, they just kept continually bringing like quality writing to it and going into all these different characters and everything, and it was great.
I think why it works so well is Taylor really zeroes in on this idea that not all apocalypse fiction really narrows in on, and that is that end-of-the-world stories are at their best when they're also show what you're made of stories. Mm-hmm. Which when the chips are down and everyone's dying and nothing matters, it shows like, who is going to stick to their guns and, who's good will rise to the surface. And that works very well in a world of superheroes who are all about, showing the good inside them and in everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, he took that old cliche of, Superman turning evil and like made it interesting and made it like compelling and cool.
Sure did. Suicide Squad, I mean, was just great because,
so
again,
good.
Taylor, he understood why Suicide Squad is good when it's this super spy skullduggery thing going on, and also that he told a great Suicide Squad story without Waller. He put Waller on a shelf and she wasn't involved in the whole thing.
Yeah, without Waller, didn't make Harley Quinn the center of every single plot. Just made her part of the team. Yeah, this was Deadshot's book, basically.
Absolutely. And also invented several new characters in the Revolutionaries that I hope stick around because they definitely have legs.
Absolutely.
It was crazy, too, because we've seen this idea before. It's like, well, what if the Suicide Squad went up against an anti-Suicide Squad? And sometimes, it's, the Jihad. Sometimes it's the Secret Six. But here, I love this idea of the Revolutionaries, a group of people whose lives were ruined by Task Force X and the government and who have banded together to try and strike back at them. And that frickin' Harley and Deadshot found themselves within the ranks of this group.
Yeah, within the ranks and then agreeing with them.
Yeah,
because they too have had their lives ruined by Task Force X, none more so than Floyd Lawton.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Man, to think made him such a great character, then killed him. But yeah, that's what makes it so much.
It was an
more
earned
effective.
Death.
Sure was. And again, as Lich Lord Chris says, the best Black Mask has been in any story in 20 years.
Yeah, again, paying off that really kind of crappy one shot he did for Year of the Villain. Who would have thought?
Yeah, no one. I certainly wouldn't. But man, that reveal, one of the best reveals, one of the most rewarding reveals too, where it's like, Tom Taylor knows I read everything he writes. Paid me back. Love it. Good shit. What else was there this year? Oh, Immortal Hulk. I mean, just continuing to be great. Just, I have never seen a series that bends genre as much as Immortal Hulk. It's a monster movie. It's, Heaven and Hell magic-based series. It's freaking,
everything.
It's a modern-day political polemic. It's a cosmic horror story. It's the Thing and the Hulk sitting down in Coney Island and eating hot dogs and talking about life.
Yeah, the one issue I read, because it was a King in Black tie-in, was the Immortal Hulk tie-in for that. Did you end up reading that?
I flipped through it, but never got around to it. I know it was
so
completely... It was wordless.
Yeah, it was so good. It was Hulk battling... Or it was actually more Bruce battling a symbiote through like a Macy's. And using like all the different, like, doing like Home Alone traps, basically.
Nice. And them keeping the continuity, too, because technically Banner is gone and, like, the Hulk has been taken by the leader. And, man, making the leader into an interesting villain. And, again, bringing this whole, like, heaven and hell, angels and demonology thing to the world of the Hulk, which if you pitch that to me, I'd be like, that's fucking stupid. The Hulk shouldn't be a magic character. Then you let Al Ewing write it. It's like, oh, this is goddamn genius.
Yeah, it was so damn good and so different from what every other Hulk series are, but before this has been, and probably whatever will come after this. I'd hate to be 100%. The person to come after this.
Oh, I know. This is Swamp Thing-esque. This is like Alan Moore on Swamp Thing-esque.
Yeah, the definitive really run on the character.
Yeah. Like, this is as close, like, and it pays homage to everything that's come before in Hulk. And what is shocking, too, about that series, Al Ewing basically invents nothing new.
No, yeah, it's all, like, things that already existed or things that, like, have been hinted at but never explored.
Yeah. He just reorders it, and then sometimes he even does fun little reprints of old stories to be like, look, this is what I'm referencing.
Yeah.
This is what's canon in my mind. But yeah, friggin' Immortal Hulk is so good, and it's gonna have an actual, real, proper ending.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, he's not gonna let it go on forever. He has an end in mind. Two things from Gene Luen Yang I absolutely loved. Superman smashes the Klan.
Yes.
Which is so good, he's getting a Superman book now. And Shang-Chi from Marvel, which has just been immense amounts of fun.
It's been really damn good. I actually caught up on the last 2 issues. It's been so good.
I'm one behind on Shang-Chi, but I definitely want to catch up. Man, how cool is it to take a character like Shang-Chi that has had, admitted problems with mainly having white people write a Chinese character in broken English, but then put someone like Gene Luen Yang on it, be like, no, I can fix it in just a little bit and actually modernize it and have it make a lot of sense. And he does.
And he, speaking of broken English, he makes fun of that.
Yes, he does.
He makes fun of that.
Certainly does, and it feels like, what is it, both Superman smashes the Klan and Shang-Chi, what are so cool about it is that they feel really autobiographical, like Luen Yang is drawing a lot of his own life to inspire this book, which makes it feel raw and authentic in a way I think a lot of superhero books aren't, because like even good writers have a hard time relating to their characters this way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this guy, he did write a book that kind of detailed like his life and stuff. I'm blanking on what it's called. It's got American in the title.
American Chinese, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, American born Chinese or something. Yeah,
which is a lot of what both Shang-Chi and Superman smashes the Klan are about.
Yeah, so he draws from a lot of his own experiences, and I imagine what experiences his like parents have had as well.
Yeah. It's really, really good, and man, the book is so good. I hope that the movie can capture like a little bit of how good the book is. Like already it has this like extra thing of like, well, of course the Shang-Chi movie will be great because the books are like, they're fun, but like they could be so much better. Now it's like, oh no, now the book is great. I hope the movie is great too. What else do we have going on here? What is it? That Punchline one shot, and basically, what Tynion is setting up for Batman in general, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, his that Punchline book as well, like really sold home. Oh, to some people it did. Some people it just went over their head again.
Oh, of course.
The fact that Punchline is like a commentary on these type of incelish Joker fans.
Homegrown terrorism in the United States.
Yeah.
This inspiring of madness and using social media to let it get everywhere. And it's like, oh, the Joker's bad, but at least he doesn't know how to work the fucking computer. If he did, how terrible would it be? And the fact that, Tynion is setting all this up. And I know people felt a lot of ways about Joker War, about whether or not it was a good event or anything, but you cannot deny that Tynion has used Joker War to great effect to set up everything else that's happening in his story.
Absolutely, yeah. Everything, it's still like, we're still feeling the effects of it. We've got characters coming in because of the Joker. We've got that Joker book that's going to obviously pick up after what happened in that, with Punchline and everything, all the stuff with Punchline being in jail and their trial and everything. It's all really damn good stuff.
Good stuff, and topical in a way Batman rarely is. I feel like he couldn't have gotten away with that in a mainline Batman book, but in a book called Punchline, yeah, sure, whatever. Sending some quick love for an indie book, Money Shot, that I really enjoyed. from what is it? Oh God, why am I blanking on his fucking name right now? He's one of my favorite people. Hack Slash and Agent Grayson and all the other good shit.
Tim Seeley.
Tim Seeley, thank you, God. I've been doing this for too long. I'm fucking tired. But yeah, Money Shot is great. Intergalactic science fiction sex comedy that is all about, selling the importance of humanity and that we are worth our place in the universe.
Yeah, lots of alien sex.
Lots of alien sex, but like really good positive alien sex. You know, how human sexuality can, help save a repressed alien species out in space. And I'm like, that's good. I like that. And it's genuinely funny and just genuinely like a weird feel-good book, which you would not expect.
Mm-hmm.
That you pick up a book called Money Shot. It's like, no, this is going to make you feel good and like, fulfilled as a human being. Like, it's very feel-good. Yeah, that's a really great one. Venom and Thor from Donny Cates this year. Have to talk about them.
Yeah, goddamn. The stuff he's building with like the cosmic and the cosmic horror side of stuff in DC is just so damn good.
I mean, yeah, gotta give Cates his due. I mean, the man is really proving to be a freaking hit machine at Marvel these days.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to figure, it's only a matter of time before, they start changing around the writing teams and everything at Marvel. Man, I'd love to see Cates take over Avengers and see what his stuff would be for that.
Ooh, that'd be really cool.
Because I think we can all agree Avengers needs a shot in the arm right now, and if DC is moving around their team and everything, it would probably make sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, especially like some of the writers I think from Marvel are going over to DC. I don't know whether they're going to be exclusive though. Like there's
that's the question.
Rumors Chip Zdarsky's going over there for Justice League and stuff like that.
Yes, I heard that too. Lich Lord Chris, is Eddie the best dad in Marvel right now? Kind of, yes, and that's one of the really endearing parts of that series, giving Eddie
son.
A kid and all these problems that come with being a father and him trying to be a better person, not just for the reader but for this kid in his life and everything. I'm like, damn, this is good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good ass shit. Naturally, gotta send some love to Hickman and really all the X-Men books. Specifically, I wanted to shout out Hellions because it's just this weird ass dark comedy.
Yeah. Hellions, like when it was first announced, I'm like, oh, so it's just gonna be Suicide Squad, but like Marvel
X-Men.
And X-Men, but it's like something completely different. It's just a insane, off the wall comedy book.
Yeah. Just this weird psycho comedy, linchpinned by one of my favorite interpretations of Mr. Sinister, to where he's just become like Frieza from Dragon Ball, but not even main Frieza, like a bridge series Frieza, where it's like, oh, I'm so deliciously evil all the time.
He's a parody of himself, basically.
He really, really is, and like they could easily get out of that and be like, oh no, we want real evil Mr. Sinister back. Okay, that one was fake.
Yeah, that was the clone.
That was a clone. There you go. That's how you get out of it. That's why Mr. Sinister can be whatever the hell he wants to be.
Yeah.
Good shit. Loving all of that. Also, got to send some love to John Ridley, a guy who I think we're going to be talking about a lot in the next couple of years. He wrote that really awesome Batwing one-shot, and also the other history of the DC Universe, which is one of the few Black Label books that actually felt like it deserved to be a Black Label book and was actually worth the wait.
Absolutely. That book, I didn't know what to expect from it, and what I got from it was so damn good. Like, not only does he give Jefferson Pierce like a voice that they've kind of tried to give him, but like they always fall very short at it. Like they tried it in like the TV series and they fall like they get cold feet before pushing too far, and they did it in like Outsiders and stuff. But like here he's just like, no, I'm just going full on with it. He fucking hates these people, and he's this paranoid delusionist.
Cynic. Yeah, it's very rare to see a story about a cynic written this way that again feels raw and authentic, because Ridley is clearly working through some stuff himself, and he's basically trying to deconstruct the trope of the angry black man in fiction to be like, no, he has reasons to be angry, but also maybe he was too angry for too long and it actually stopped him from doing some good that he should have done. It is a beautifully three-dimensional look at the character of Black Lightning, and you rarely ever get three-dimensional takes like this.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's really, really good stuff. Ooh, someone in the chat said Curse of White Knight. I think that was done in this year, but I will say after 3 issues of that White Knight Harley book, boy, that's a good mystery book. That's like the best mystery book I've read in a while.
It is. It's so fun to be back in that world and like explore it outside of like Batman.
This was a good year for Harley for the cartoon series that breathed a lot of fresh life in her in a lot of ways and made her fun and exciting and accessible, to Tynion doing a lot of work on her in continuity to where she was basically the secondary hero of Joker War, and now she's sticking around. She's basically a member of the Bat family now.
Yeah.
To that book to see her basically be Private Eye Harley Quinn. And I love the Starlet as a villain. I think the Starlet is probably one of my favorite new creations.
It's really it's so cool.
It's an excellent design.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
It's a design so good, I'm like, okay, I wouldn't care if this actually crossed over into the main universe. Because you know that's going to happen eventually, right? When this White Knight stuff gets so popular, shit's going to cross back over.
Absolutely. So
yeah, that's all the comic stuff. Did you have any you wanted to talk about, Matt, before we move on to TV?
Let's have a look. We kind of had similar...
As I knew we would.
So, yeah, that's why I didn't really bother to make a list.
I was gonna say you read more Star Wars than me. What was the good Star Wars this year to read?
What wasn't the good Star Wars to read? Like everything was really damn good. Everything this year, like what Charles Soule is doing on the main book at the moment is really cool, tying it all into High Republic. Greg Pak
came out, didn't it?
What was that?
That High Republic book came out, didn't it?
It's supposed to come out today. I've got it on pre-order and it hasn't been shipped yet, which I'm kind of sad for because I'm looking to read it because the comic also comes out this week as well.
Nice. I will definitely be picking that up. I want to go all in on High Republic. I want this to be my thing.
Greg Pak's doing really great on the Darth Vader book, marring prequel era, sequel era, and original trilogy all really, really well.
Nice.
Yeah, he's doing like an arc at the moment where Vader's fighting Ochi of Bestoon and is going to go to Exegol and all this really cool shit.
That does sound good.
Yeah, and then before that he fought an order of handmaidens that were fighting in Padme's name, and
I saw that. Yeah. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, Bounty Hunters, as Space Lord says, is really good by Ethan Sachs.
Nice.
They got Hondo coming up in that series.
Ooh, cool. I know you were saying that book kind of has its own interesting, continuity with the robot bounty hunter who's been in like a bunch of different books.
Yeah. They brought in Valance. They brought him back into continuity. And he had his own Target Vader series, which was like, they're going after Darth Vader, and then that tied into this one, and then he's shown up every now and then in like Dr. Aphra and everything, and I'm sure it's only time until he shows up in the main Star Wars book.
Now that we know that's a thing, and also, hey, I'm counting down the minutes until he shows up on TV as well.
Hey, I thought he was going to be Michael Biehn in Mandalorian Season 2, because Michael Biehn, he's basically based on Michael Biehn.
That's pretty fucking dope. There's still a chance. There's still time for him to show up in the dozens of new Star Wars shows that are coming out.
There is. There's a Boba Fett show, so yeah, I guess he'll probably appear there. Here's a history with Boba Fett, so yeah.
Definitely. And I mean, speaking of TV, that was on my list too. But yeah, Mandalorian Season 2. Yeah, fucking dope.
So damn good.
It was bigger. It was better. There was Krayt Dragons and Ahsoka's.
And Luke's and
there was Luke's.
And Mandalorians, Bo-Katan. Darksabers.
Boba Fett was maybe made into a more interesting character than he's ever been in any of the other movies.
In Robert Rodriguez in that one episode made him so much better than the decades of Legends canon.
Mm-hmm. You want to know how that show is magic and how they are weaving this amazing alchemy? I should hate devoting whole episodes to Boba Fett. I should hate Luke coming in and saving everyone at the end, but I'm just sitting there like, he did the thing.
Because it feels earned. It's not. They're not doing. They're doing it for fan service, but they're not. How can I explain it? They're not. Jerking themselves off about it and sort of thing.
Exactly. It's good fan service. It's not wink and a nudge. It's no. We built it up to serve this moment.
Yeah. And Luke just appeared in that one scene. If he'd been like a character all through the episode. You know, he's teaming up with Mandalorian and whatnot. That would have defeated the whole purpose of it.
It's also like in terms of continuity, I can't piss and moan too much because it's like, well, yeah, Luke is the only Jedi we know to be active in this time, unless they invented a brand new Jedi, which would probably create a ton of problems. It's like, well, where the fuck was this guy this whole time?
I still like thought like, oh, come on, just make it Cal Kestis. I'm like, but that might put a hamper on what they want to do in his second game, and but it still would have been pretty cool. Yeah, or Ezra. Although I think they're gonna do that in that Ahsoka show.
I'm pretty sure that's where they're going in that as well. And also, Ezra was technically not a Jedi because technically neither was Kanan. They're getting a lot of use out of the I didn't finish Jedi school.
Yeah, the technicalities.
Yeah, they're loving the fuck out of them technicalities. What else did I have on TV for this year? Ted Lasso. We talked about this, but man,
I'm gonna watch that show again. I'm gonna watch it. It's so damn good.
It's so funny to see a little show that could like this kind of take over the world in a way to where everyone is talking about it and like people are passing it off to their friends, and also like, hey, good on Apple TV too. I think you guys finally have a killer app.
It's weird as well because like when you look at the Ted Lasso character, like it's just like a character that like had been appeared before, but like
sports,
and you
sketches.
think like, oh, he's getting a show. You think, oh, it's gonna be another crappy comedy. They've expanded this character who's good in like 2-minute shorts into like 30 minutes. It's gonna be terrible, but it works.
Like that caveman show.
Yeah,
and yet it works because again, it's the strength of the actor behind it, but also this real focus in the writing to be positive and wholesome, but also very funny. It is a show that like basically it expects your own cynicism going into it and then goes out of its way to deflate your cynicism at every turn, where it's like, no one could be nice as Ted Lasso. There has to be something going on here. No, he really is that nice, but he also has problems at home and everything. Oh, well, this lady, his boss, there surely has to be a shoe to drop with him. Oh, it does, but then he forgives her right away because that's the character we built for him over all these episodes.
The stuff when it was revealed that the stuff with his home life, I'm thinking, oh, we're going to have a whole thing where like this woman married him and then like she didn't care about his job and like got mad because he's not always there. It's the whole cop thing. But then they're still friends and everything, and they're like hanging out and whatnot, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
It's so good at zigging when you think it's gonna zag. The multi-general relationship between his boss and the other lady on the show there is really freaking interesting because you never get to see that on television. No. And I'm like, wow, holy shit, I was not expecting that from a soccer, football, sports comedy, but here we are.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when that show gets a second season.
Same.
I think it's getting a second and third season.
I'm sure it is because it was such a big deal. But yeah, Ted Lasso is great. Even if you don't think you're going to like it, even if you know nothing about soccer or football as it is, check it out because I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. It's all about
that's like the
characters.
Premise of the show as well. The main character doesn't know about soccer or anything.
Exactly. So if you don't know, it only helps.
Yeah.
What else were some good TV shows? God, there was so much good television this year.
I'm watching a show at the moment called Your Honor, and it's Bryan Cranston.
Oh yeah, I saw this on TNT. They were advertising.
Yeah, it's so damn cool. I don't really want to spoil it for you, but Bryan Cranston, he's like a judge. And his son ends up getting involved in like a hit and run, and his son ends up like leaving the crime scene, and this judge has to like cover for his son and like hide this crime because, as we learn, the guy he killed is the son of New Orleans' biggest mob boss.
Ooh.
And yeah, he doesn't want his son to get killed by this guy, so he's got to hide it all. And yeah, it's the tension in it, the tension that just keeps building over these episodes is just so good, and how the characters deal with all of this, because you would go ahead.
I was gonna say you would figure it would have to be a really solid script to bring Bryan Cranston back to television after Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, I can see why he would want to come back to this. It's different than Walter White, absolutely, and it's just so fun seeing him play this character who wants to do what's right, but can't because of what his son has done, but then he wants to help his son because he loves his son, and he's in this like big predicament, and then his son is also in a predicament because of what he's doing to his father.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, I might have to check that out then. Yeah, I saw the trailers for it when I was watching AEW, and they had like paid for a lot of ad space, and I'm like, oh, this looks kind of interesting.
It's really good.
If it gets the Matt seal of approval,
And
I'll have to check it out.
it's set in New Orleans, which not many shows are. So you get like different like settings and stuff than you used to.
That. Also, you get a big tax break, I think, when you film in New Orleans. What else we got going here? Speaking of a show that I think I've seen but you haven't, Woke on what is it? Another one of those. I forget. There's so many fucking apps now. Which one this was on? But it's really funny. Do you like black comedians? Do you like Nicole Bayer? Do you like Sashir Zameda? Do you like jokes about Ta-Nehisi Coates? You'll like this. It's also weirdly about comic books too.
Okay.
So it's about a guy in New York. He's a cartoonist. What is there? He's one of those guys who's like, oh, my art isn't political. You know, he's very much one of those guys. Can't we all get along? Da, 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 da. And then he gets beaten up by the cops one day for doing absolutely nothing. And he gets awoken, basically, to the injustice of the world. And it starts affecting his work. And it gets deeply political. And his friends are like, no, you gotta make the money first and sign the deal before you start putting your politics and stuff. The white people can still take it away from you. And they do. And he starts hallucinating. His pen starts talking to him, and he starts hearing the voices of like all these really funny comedians all around him, and it's just a very interesting premise. The dude from what is it? Oh god, what show is that? He's the guy who wears the bear suit in the meme there for sure.
Oh yeah, I can't remember what his name is.
Okay, but you know the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Hulu, yes, thank you. Yeah, he's in it too. He plays one of his roommates, and he's very funny. The show is very funny.
Nice.
I think a lot of people looked at the name of the show and didn't watch it, but you should definitely check it out if you haven't. It's really, really fucking good, and weirdly about comics.
Awesome.
Yeah. Fargo season 4, really like that. Seeing Chris Rock as a bad guy. I never watched any of the other Fargo seasons, and you don't have to.
Oh yeah. That's the good thing about that show. It's all anthology based. Every season's different. Kind of like I guess not really like American Horror Story. They kind of tied all that back together though.
Aw, yeah, but this was good, seeing a lot of actors play against type. Chris Rock is a bad guy. Jason Schwartzman plays an Italian mobster. Which, that was weird. They do a whole episode that's literally just a tribute to Wizard of Oz, because it all takes place in Kansas and everything.
Okay.
And it's like, it's just weird and out there, and there's like paranormal elements near the end. I'm like, what the fuck is with this?
I think there was a season as well. I think it might have been the last season, where or it might have been this one where it's like aliens or something.
This was Ghosts.
I'm fairly certain there was like a Fargo season that like alluded to aliens or something.
Makes sense that it's all weird and out there. The lady who plays like the evil Nurse Ratched character in this one is fucking amazing. Like, this is literally just her show to steal. Nice. It's just like the most evil Minnesota woman you've ever seen now. just poisoning people and stealing their jewelry. She's really good. Again, I think the first 3 seasons are on Netflix, at least here in Canada they are. I hope the 4th season comes out soon, because people should totally check it out.
Awesome.
Did you have anything else, or should I keep reading off my list?
I've been watching The Expanse. The Expanse came back just a couple of weeks ago and been giving us episodes every week for its 5th season. And oh my god, the show continues to be so damn good, and just it's Game of Thrones in space.
Okay, because I feel like there was a lot of high concept science fiction shows that came out all at once, and I'm like, okay, do I get involved in it now? Is it gonna make it, or is it not?
See, you say it's high concept, but it really isn't. Like, I'm actually shocked at, like, you look at all like the different other sci-fi shows, and they lean hard into it, and there is a sci-fi in this, but it's like stuff that's like in our near future. Like, all of the ships look like SpaceX rockets, and you know, they're not like, you know, stuff in Star Wars or anything. And there's stuff like, oh, if you're born in outer space, you can never go to Earth because your bones will break because of the different gravity. And
fucking Gundam up in here.
yeah, and this season's so cool. A space terrorist is throwing rocks at Earth, and like it's so cool. He's like covering them in like a paint that like gets past their senses. It's like a camo paint.
Oh, wow.
So these huge like meteors are just striking Earth and destroying huge parts of it, and he's
I love
trying
how
to
high and low tech that is at the same time.
yeah, he's trying to like make it so that his people, the Belters, are free from Earth's tyranny and Mars's tyranny and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's like political intrigue and just
That sounds very anime.
yeah. There's like alien stuff, but it's not like, oh, there's an alien. It's like aliens as in we'd have it, like bacteria and molecules and stuff, which play a big part in it. And yeah, it's just so much fun. It's so good. The characters are really cool. Thomas Jane's in the earlier seasons as like a detective, like a space PI who becomes like part of an alien race.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really fun.
All right, I might have to check that one out now. Warrior on Cinemax, that show based on the writings of Bruce Lee. I mainlined both of those seasons.
Pretty good, eh?
Everyone was fucking kicks ass this show.
It's a Cinemax show, so it was definitely going to do that.
By the same guy who did Banshee. In fact, Banshee is referenced a couple times in this show. That's the pub the Irish gangster works out of.
Yeah, it's a really damn good show. The fighting in it is so damn cool.
Yes, it is. In fact, I will say what's super cool about Warrior is that, if you've ever seen like a crime procedural before, a Sons of Anarchy, a Sopranos, where you like get to like ride along with a bunch of gang members, what is particularly cool about Warrior is that they can back it up by having awesome fight scenes where those shows never could, because they were all character-based dramas, and every time they tried to do action, it was a little like, we don't quite know what we're doing. Here you get the gangster procedural, and then kick-ass fight scenes will start.
Yeah.
It combines so much. It is so good. And, man, the cast is awesome, too. Just, like, so many stellar Asian actors. You're like, oh, haven't I seen them in something? Yeah, you probably have. They got the dude from the original 21 Jump Street to come back as a villain. How cool is that?
It's pretty cool.
Mongolians. The cops are cool. The whole show is really fucking cool. Like, it was the easiest 2 seasons I've binged all year.
Yeah, it's a damn. I watched the first season when it originally aired, and then binged the second season after it had finished. And yeah, it's really damn cool. You coupled that with what was the show? Into the Badlands, which is kind of similar. It's a bit more of a sci-fi setting because it's set in like a future world where there's like kings and queens sort of thing, and there's like territories, and they're guarded by like these guys who wield swords and like fight kung fu and whatnot. It's a pretty cool series.
Okay, let me write that down. I may have to check that one out now. Kung fu and swords, I like it. A show that I probably watched this year, but no one else watched because I'm a fan of Ron Funches and Brian Posehn. Their show on True TV, Top Secret Video. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this at all?
I haven't, no.
It's literally just comedians sitting down and watching funny like internet videos and like MST3K'ing them.
Okay.
It's, again, I don't think it's going to get a season 2, but I really enjoyed the fuck out of it because I love Ron Funches and I love Brian Posehn, and I love the new woman they have on that too, who's kind of like the young comedian to like balance out the 2 old guys in the room. Mm-hmm. It's very funny. It's on True TV. You can probably find the clips very easily. It fills that, America's Funniest Home Video hole that I have not been able to fill in my own life. Yep. So that's good.
That's good. I watched Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, okay, see, I haven't watched this yet, but I know you and Sal both watched it.
Oh, man, you've got to give it a watch. Oh, man,
so I've heard.
So damn cool. The premise is it's set in the 1950s. It follows a family who are tied in with this cult, this guy who's tied in with a cult, and it's got the backdrop of they're doing the Green Books for the African American people, and there's stuff with the Tulsa race riots and just all this stuff about slavery in America and how African Americans have been treated, and they tie that in with Lovecraft stuff because if people don't know, Lovecraft was kind of a racist. Just look up the name of his cat. and you'll figure it out.
Yeah,
But
so literally a lot of this show is kind of like reinterpreting, kind of like taking it
kinda,
back and
yeah,
de-racifying it.
taking it back, but also respecting it in a way. And like they reference all this, like first episode right off the bat, fucking Cthulhu.
Nice.
Like they do all the Shoggoth stuff and all like Hollow World, and just like you think it's going to be like a bit cerebral, and then they're like, nah man, we've got a tunnel here that takes us halfway across the world in like the basement of this house we bought. Oh, and the house is full of ghosts. Oh, okay. Like it's just so fun, and it's Jonathan Majors, who's going to be playing Kang. Journey Smollett, who played Black Canary.
Yes.
Michael, what's his name? He was in The Wire. Oh, I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, I know the guy you mean.
Yeah, he's like the abusive father, and
So killer cast.
yeah, it's a great show. Great show.
All right, I'll have to check that one out. That's definitely been on my list. But now that I've got 2 glowing reviews from both you and Sal, I'll definitely need to check that one. You guys haven't steered me wrong yet. Harley Quinn, we kind of mentioned before. Yeah, we got 2 seasons of that, and it was fucking great. And I got to talk to the creator of it, and that's super dope. A show I think people forgot about, Westworld Season 3, that you and I really enjoyed, and I don't think anyone else watched.
No, I don't know why. This season was so damn good.
It really was. And like, I felt smart for all the Sunday school I absorbed because of all the religious allegories they were making about Riboom and man making God, or did God make man, and what is freedom? And frickin' Vincent Cassel actually played like a really interesting villain who's like, no, to save the world I need to take away choice, because choice leads to nuclear war and the death of my brother and everything else, and this is the only way.
Yeah, it was so good. And I at first I was like, come on, just stay in like Westworld, like stay cowboys and stuff. That's really cool. But I'm like, that's barely a thing here. Like we get, like it's just Aaron Paul running around
in a Grand Theft Auto city.
Yeah, in Grand Theft Auto City, where they have an actual app. They have that henchable app.
I love that crime app that he has.
Yeah, and yeah, just getting involved with what's her name? I can't remember what her name is.
Oh, Dolores.
Dolores, that's the one. And
which he does almost by accident, but again, talking about, free will and fate and everything else. And if you live in a world ruled by algorithms, that's another thing. YouTube basically rules this world, and it's all dark and fucked up.
Yeah, it's all based on like your user rating and stuff like that. Yeah. That's why Aaron Paul can't get a job and everything.
Because he's got a low user rating. And yeah, just a lot of really fun, really big ideas that they build upon. But yeah, I think a lot of people were just turned off at being like, there's no cowboys in it anymore, so I don't like it.
We got more samurais though.
We did.
We got more samurais. Like a really awesome like Nazi set world as well. Like World War II with what's her name, Maeve.
Yeah, where everyone's just Casablanca all the time.
Yeah.
Westworld Season 3, pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. I think we might be the only 2, but it was good.
Well, I another show that I'm fairly certain I'm the only one who watched was Ridley Scott's Raised by Wolves.
Oh, yeah, I kept meaning to watch that, too. I saw the trailers, and I'm like, this looks cool.
It's fucking weird, but it's really cool. The premise is two androids have to raise a bunch of kids on a planet.
Right.
Like that's all I can really say about it without spoiling much, but it just gets so weird. And like Travis Fimmel is in it, and he plays like a weird like religious space knight, and yeah, it's so damn cool. It's so different. Like you think, oh really, this came from like Ridley Scott? Like really, it's Ridley Scott and some other guy who's like the showrunner, and like, wow, this is really cool. And like, where was this Ridley Scott when he was making those alien films?
For real. A lot of hard dystopian science fiction this year, Matt. You notice that?
Yeah. There was that Brave New World adaptation by Grant Morrison.
Yeah. I never saw that either, but I should probably check it out. This year I caught up on Pen 1-5, which is just cringe comedy gold.
Yeah, it is. It's great,
If you love being uncomfortable, you will love this show.
You love being uncomfortable and being reminded of how uncomfortable you were at that age?
so beautifully topical, because another thing I think people fail to mention when they talk about Pen 1-5 is like, oh, you know, it's a gross out boner comedy, but from the female perspective, and that's what makes it unique. What makes it cool, though, is that it's also the ultimate 90s kid will remember time capsule. They're drinking Surge. They're on AIM Messenger. It's all there. So it feels extra awkward because I'm like, oh no, this was my childhood. Oh no, they know me so well. Fuck. This show has my number and I don't like it. But it's actually very... Man, that final episode of season 2 when they put on the play as a kid who was a drama kid and who did both the stage stuff and the behind-the-scenes stuff, that is so fucking accurate that all the stage kids hated the tech kids and vice versa.
Yep. It's exactly how it was, because I was one of those tech kids.
Mm-hmm. It's my play. No, it's my play. Look, they wouldn't even be able to see you and hear you if it wasn't for me. As someone who did both in multiple years, yeah, I've been on each side of that confrontation. But yet, at the end, it all comes together, and it's all a beautiful dance, because that's what it is, because we're all working together. And I'm like, holy shit, this show captured what it's like to be in a play. Did you see the two ladies behind that who are the adult stars of that show playing their younger selves, that they were in an episode of Big Mouth this season?
Oh, really?
They were, because the joke is that people have been comparing those two shows forever because they deal with a lot of the similar subject matter, so they just got those two actresses to be in this show. And I'm like, that's funny.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's them deconstructing the show they're on, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny, actually. What else? Oh, Stargirl was this year. We both loved Stargirl.
Oh, talk about like a year of like wholesome dads.
Very. This is the year of the wholesome dad.
Like between Pedro Pascal and Luke Wilson.
Yep.
Like we're pretty short up for wholesome dads.
For real. Tell me about Ted Lasso, also a very wholesome dad. Yeah. We can throw him in there too. But yeah, Stargirl, everything about it works. It's everything that's great about the comic, and also extended to make like an actual real show about it.
Yeah, it just works so damn well. Like you would think like introducing Stargirl, Stripe, Justice Society, the villains would be too much for a show, but it just worked so well. Everything was like paid off. We got set up for like a season 2.
Everyone's likable.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, you like everyone, even the villains.
Yeah, I know, right? The show was incredibly humanizing and three-dimensional with the villains.
Yeah, the villains who had it like quite a topical plan as well.
Very. We're going to make America great again. No, but not in the racist way, make America great again. We're just going to literally try and change everyone's minds so they're not selfish dickheads anymore. Which, goddamn, you look at this now with people not wearing their fucking masks, and it's like they should have let Icicle Jr. do what he was going to do. Also, they had Shining Knight, and Shining Knight was great.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Well, once Justin became the Knight again, it was so good.
And he's gonna go look for his magic horse and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's nice. I like that. Yeah, I can't wait for season 2 of that show. It'll be interesting to see what that show becomes, because it looks like they thought they were only gonna get one season.
Yeah.
Shit, Joel McHale was really good in it.
Yeah, and usually I don't really like him.
Same. They used him to great effect here. What else do we have this year? Rick and Morty season 4, but particularly just the Loveness episodes, which were the latter half of the show, like the Acid Vat episode.
I don't think I've watched a Rick and Morty since like season 2. I've been like completely put off that show.
That's funny. Well, here's the thing. You don't have to watch most of season 4. Just watch the stuff that was written by comic writer Jeff Loveness, because they were the best ones.
Oh, I have to imagine they would be. He's a really good writer.
He is, and I think he's going to be writing, like, the next Ant-Man movie, so that makes sense.
Yeah, he is.
It's got a good eye for weird science fiction. The Boys season 2, way better than season 1.
So good. It was so good. And so much bigger.
Very much so. This is the season where I'm like, okay, this isn't a fluke. This show is an actual real contender now. And does my comic watching heart good to see so many people like really adopt the show and really fall in love with it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. What We Do in the Shadows season 2, again, just so fucking funny.
Just good just because of that Mark Hamill cameo.
Ugh, everything about that. And Jackie Daytona, the character who will live in our hearts forever. Who I'm pretty sure our friend Kirk is actually Jackie Daytona. Kirk is 40. He told me that. I'm like, fuck off. No, you're not.
Yeah, again,
like, no,
he's
really,
Jackie Daytona.
He's Jackie Daytona. See, he said 40, but he's really 400, and we don't know. That's the little lie to back up the big lie. So funny. Guillermo really grew as a character this season, and I cannot wait for season 3 now that his secret of basically being a vampire hunter is out of the bag.
Yeah.
Guillermo, it means guillotine. It really does. Movies I'll go through quite quickly. I'm sure, again, we have a lot of crossover in this one. Blood Quantum, super badass Canadian zombie movie. Much like Warrior, showing that you can have a very topical, meaningful, socio-political message and also kick fucking ass all the time. Onward, which was the last movie I saw in theaters.
Oh, wow.
Before everything went to hell. Yo, do you like Dungeons and Dragons? I like Dungeons and Dragons. That's basically
that's what this show is.
More or less. Borat, subsequent movie film. Boy, did I not think the Borat sequel would not only be good, but actually be really good.
Oh, man. Yeah, I didn't think, especially since everyone was, like, wise to him, but I like that they included that as part of the gag.
Yeah, it really works. The actress playing his daughter is amazing, and I think will be the next big comedy star off the back of this.
Mm-hmm.
The Invisible Man, yet another one of the last movies that you could actually still go see in theaters.
You can see, yeah, and then, yeah, that was like one of the first films that kind of got released like a little bit like quicker than usual.
Man, Blumhouse, I hope they keep doing cool reinventions of like classic Hammer horror movies.
I hope they do them as of this quality, just because
Absolutely.
I know like Blumhouse is it's like a fucking makeup shotgun. It just goes everywhere, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's set to whore.
Yeah, sometimes you get something beautiful, and this Invisible Man, one of the best takes on a monster movie I've seen in a long time.
Absolutely.
The Outpost. I'm not much for war movies, but there was 2 really good war movies this year, and The Outpost was one of them.
Yeah, I saw that movie and I really liked it, but like I saw someone talking about it on Twitter, so I looked it up and I saw the trailer. I'm like, oh wow, this looks like one of those like really cheaply made war films where they went out the back of like California to like some ranch and just like started shooting, and it's like, oh, it's got actors who are in those type of films. No, this is actually pretty damn good.
I like they sold it with Orlando Bloom. We have Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
He's only like in it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what really like made me question, because like recently he's been doing like a bunch of those, like he's trying to become like the action star, like Steven Seagal sort of thing. So he's done a bunch of like shitty like action films. I'm like, oh no.
This one does a great job of making you feel claustrophobic and like you're actually getting shot at. Which I really enjoyed. And the cast is so likable that you very much want to be involved with them. And it's also one of the few very rare war movies that I think actually does manage to be apolitical and not actually have anything to say about the war outside we need to survive this thing we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
But not actually making it weaker. On the other end of that, we have Da 5 Bloods, which is probably again Chadwick Boseman in one of his last few performances.
Yeah. This film, I knew what I was getting into because it's a Spike Jones film. Spike Lee, sorry. Spike Lee.
Spike Jones, yes, a Spike Jones.
The two Spikes, they do very different, but also very the same. They both make really damn good films, but just one's like used to hang out with the jackass people.
Indeed.
And one yells at LeBron James.
That he does.
This film was really damn good. I liked it. It was different than what I thought it was going to be.
It was same. It had a lot going on, because on one hand it's almost like that Simpsons episode, The Flying Hellfish, where we all got to come back together to get the hidden treasure, but it's also talking about American politics and American geopolitical impacts on places like Vietnam
and how they shouldn't have been there. And
and it's a heist movie, and Chadwick Boseman is here to like kick a bunch of real history that you probably didn't know. And again, he's only in the movie for about 5 minutes too, but he's fucking great in it. And the fact that they literally film him like he is Jesus.
Yeah.
is really fucking solid. Da 5 Bloods is great, everyone. If you haven't seen it, or if you're one of those people who are like, Spike Lee hasn't made a good movie in forever, you will like this one.
It's very good. And just see it just for Chadwick Boseman.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to see all of them now. I really enjoyed Hamilton because, as I said before, I am a musical theater nerd, and I loved that this got to come into my house this year and that I didn't have to spend like $500 on tickets in New York. That was pretty good.
Yeah, this was like my first like exposure really to Hamilton, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's very fun. Again, if you don't like musical theater, even if you don't like rap music, trust me, you will like this. It is a weird, like, peanut butter and pretzels thing where it's like, oh, this is pretty good. Also, you will now understand why people love Lin-Manuel Miranda and why he is getting tapped for, like, everything under the sun, because he is just that versatile.
Yeah.
Some documentaries I really enjoyed this year. You Can't Kill David Arquette, the wrestling documentary, where you're like, wow, David Arquette is actually way more insane than I thought he was.
I still got to find that documentary somewhere and watch that, because you told me about it when it first came out, and I really wanted to see it.
I have a thing of it I may have to actually send you, because it's very fun. And again, even if you know nothing about wrestling, it is very interesting to see this rich, famous man in his waning days decide, not only do I want to start a new dangerous career of wrestling, I want to do deathmatch wrestling and almost die.
Yeah, I saw like the trailers and stuff to it, and it's just some of the stuff he's been doing is just insane.
It is. It's completely. And the fact that he goes into it like half cock as like a joke, and when more and more people make fun of him, he's like, I'm going to show them, I'm going to take this seriously. And he does. Class Action Park, which we both saw and we both really enjoyed.
Yeah, that was really damn good. I've been waiting for that documentary for a while, just because I've been hearing stories about Action Park for years, and it just sounded so insane.
Yeah.
And it literally was. It was some rich, insane person
maniac
using the local kids to test out his insane engineering constructions.
It's like, you may have seen the Johnny Depp movie that this was based on, Action Park, but trust me, the real story is even crazier. And I had seen the Defunctland episode too they did on it, and the documentary is really, really solid.
It is, yeah. The Defunctland, I'd seen that, since their stuff is really good, but yeah, the documentary goes into a bit more detail.
Yes, very much so. You'll learn a lot from it. A documentary that you recommended to me and I enjoyed quite a bit. Seduced Inside the Nexium Cult.
That was a ride.
Shit's fucking wild. I got stars on Amazon just so I could watch that, and yeah, shit's wild, bro. Like, you think you've seen every cult documentary, you know where this is going. You don't. And also, Comic Book Connection, that girl from Smallville was one of the main ringleaders in this.
Yeah.
Fucking branding people. What? You were on TV? What? Marvel 616, I thought was really good too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really damn good. I binged all that like quite recently, actually.
I hope they make more of that. I hope that becomes a yearly thing and they do a second season of that.
Yeah, I get, again, like, I didn't know it had come out until people started complaining about all that Dan Slott stuff, and then you watch it and you're like, really? This is what you're complaining about? You're complaining about people working?
Yeah, I know, right? McMillions, again, from HBO, talking about how the mob was involved in rigging the frickin'
the Monopoly.
Monopoly.
Yeah. They were going to make a film about that with Ben Affleck, and it never happened.
This documentary was so my jam because it combines two of my favorite things, fast food and stories about the mafia.
True crime, yeah.
Exactly. Like, seriously, you could not have made something more for me if you tried, but they did. Soul, which we mentioned before, came out just under the wire for 2020. Very good. Good old Pixar. So I got 2 Pixar ones in there. Did you have any movies before I move on to games? Because games is going to be very short.
I saw it. I guess you could kind of, as a movie, it was cut up into 3 bits. It's called Blood Machines. It's on Shudder. I definitely suggest you. I highly recommend it. It's like a trippy space opera.
Nice.
How can I explain it? In this world, spaceships have souls. And there's people that like try and take these souls, and it's about these souls being set free and turning on people taking them. It's really hard to explain. You really need to experience it. It's a ride. It is a ride.
Yeah, that sounds like a hell of a concept. I like it.
Yeah, and the special effects are goddamn awesome. So good.
Is it funny? In a year where so many apps came and went and struggled, Shudder actually really found its own identity, and apparently if you just find one niche and do really good with the fans of that niche who can actually make it.
Yeah. I like Shudder came to Australia this year, and I ended up buying the subscription. I've watched like quite a fair bit on it. It's got like a little something for everyone.
Yeah, we talk about the failure of Quibi, one of the biggest failures of this year, but I think more people should be talking about the success of Shudder and being like, no, learn from how Shudder made it work, because they're just laser focused. We do horror, we do cool indie stuff that you couldn't get anywhere unless you were at a festival. They gave us Blood Quantum too.
Yeah.
So, like, more people should do that. Just get laser focused on one thing and let that be your thing. Not everyone can be Netflix or Amazon or anything.
No, and you don't have to be as well.
Exactly. Be your own thing. Have your own identity. All right, so my video game list is incredibly small because I'm an old man who didn't get to play near enough. Hades. How good was Hades?
Hades is damn awesome. I'm stuck on the third boss, though.
It's stupid hard, but it's the good kind of stupid hard. Like it hurts you, but only because it loves you.
Yeah.
The character designs are amazing. The music is great. The just playability of it. Like, it's the most playable video game, and I got it on my Switch, and I loved having it on my Switch because I literally took it everywhere and played it everywhere for like a couple days.
Yeah, it's a simple game. You've got like 3 buttons you use, I think, and yeah, it's just that, and you do it, and it's like rinse and repeat, but it never gets monotonous or anything. You're never bored. There's always something to spice up. There's like obviously like the multiple paths. You're like, oh well, I went this way before, I'll go this way.
In a year defined by so many like disappointing AAA multi-billion-dollar games, I love the idea that we all agree the best one was this little, like, half an indie thing that was, like, in early development for, like, ever, but that they fine-tuned until it was a goddamn diamond.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's some good shit there. Again, I got a lot of use out of my Switch this year. Crown Tundra, the Pokemon DLC. This is the year Joel got back into Pokemon in a big way, and fuck yeah, that was good shit.
I still haven't played... I don't even own... Sword or Shield. I still haven't played them. I keep meaning to, but other things get in the way.
I know. I totally get the feeling. This was one of those times where I'm like, I was very happy to pour some hours into this, because literally Sword and Shield, a lot of the fans were mad at it because they're like, oh, it's the first one on a new system and it's just nostalgia. Yeah, I know. I've been away from it for 20 years. Thank you for the nostalgia hit. I'm totally back in now. You did your job. What was the other one here? I played a lot of Animal Crossing this year, which I think everyone did. This was the first year I picked it up because that was the beginning of the quarantine, and it's like, well, I need something soothing. And I can't go outside for real.
I think everyone picked up that game. I did. I picked it up, and I haven't played it for a while though.
Same.
I think like a lot of people.
Where it's like, let me try this. Everyone seems to be enjoying it, but apparently my brain just isn't built that way. To be like, what do you mean I gotta come back once a day? What do you mean I gotta do all this other stuff? But for those first couple weeks where I was into it, it was magical for that time.
It was
and
pretty
I'll always
fun.
remember. I'll always remember the time we spent together, Animal Crossing. Then, of course, Last of Us 2, AC Valhalla, and Ghost of Tsushima, which I know we've all been playing too. Did you play anything different than me, Matt, that you'd want to talk about?
I've been playing Miles Morales, Spider-Man.
Lucky.
It's so good. It's like like the original Spider-Man game. Obviously, we've got Miles here with different movesets with his Venom strikes and the way he swings and everything with the exaggerated swagger of a black teen.
You beat me to it. I was going to say, how exaggerated, how teen do you feel, Matt?
Very, very exaggerated. Yeah, no, it's really fun. It's got a great story. I really enjoy the story involving... I'm not going to spoil it for you. But it's a great story. I like that it's basically like a continuation of the first Spider-Man game because it picks up. It's a little bit after that, and the Peter goes away and Miles takes over for a little bit, and then they come back, and we're going to obviously get Spider-Man 2 after that. Right. It was a really fun game to just come back into this world, and again playing it because I got the PS5 version. Playing it on a console where there's like no load times, it's 60 FPS with ray tracing is just amazing. It's just so good.
The chat is also filled with other games I meant to play and still probably will at some point. Doom Eternal, what is it, frickin' some of the other ones there they mentioned. Final Fantasy Remake Part 1.
That was great.
A lot of other stuff I keep meaning to play and probably will, just couldn't sink all the time into at the moment. They brought up the Avengers game. Hey, I enjoyed the Avengers story mode when I played it, and then it was over, and then I had no reason to touch it. It's still collecting dust on my computer.
I just recently played the Kate Bishop stuff in it, and Kate Bishop's really damn good.
Yeah. Oh, did what is it? The
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds, was that this year?
Yes. I'm not sure. I cannot remember.
Well, if it was, Outer Worlds is really good. I know they had DLC recently, but apparently it wasn't like super big DLC, so I never got around to it.
Yeah.
But it was good. So there you go, everyone. That's everything we liked in 2020. Everything we distracted ourselves with.
Everything we can remember we distracted ourselves with. I'm sure there's other stuff that we just can't remember because the year. Oh my god.
It's a big long fucking year. Yeah, tell me about it. So we hope you enjoyed this. This one got to be like an extra length episode.
It did.
So don't say we were ever what is ever sticking you on episode content, but we'll start bringing this show to an end, and we'll be back again next week for more good stuff.
We will. Future State starts.
Yes, very soon. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So
this week we get the first wave of it.
Oh, really? So what is it? Frickin' Death Metal isn't even done yet.
No,
we're already starting Future State.
We get Death Metal, we get Future State, and we get Generations.
Oh, all on the same day.
Yep. And High Republic is starting, and oh my god, I'm gonna be so fucking busy.
Never fucking. I don't even know if I'm going to cover Generations now that they say it's not connected anymore. I'm like,
they say that, but I have a feeling that it probably is, mainly just because most of the writers on it are like writing stuff that's going to be in like Infinite Frontier and Generations.
Well, you'll be the judge of that for me, Matt. So thank you everyone for watching and listening. As always, we really, truly, deeply appreciate it. And we will be back again next week with more comic multiverse goodness for the rest of the year that is 2021.
Hopefully it'll be a bit better of a year.
We can only hope. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.